Today is Friday, May 10th, 2019. Time is 9:01 a.m. Calling this meeting to order. Attending in person are Commissioners Duncan and Filios. Joining us by phone is Commissioner Bill Brooks. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. We're moving on to our fiscal 2020 preliminary budget review with the BOCC departments, and so I'll turn it over to Dina Darrow. Go ahead, Dina.
Thank you, Commissioner Filios. Welcome, everyone. Today is a 3-hour budget block. We have some breaks built in, and the time is flexible. What you see on the screen right now is a tentative agenda to help us kind of get started and get rolling. Traditionally, this first month of meetings, as I've stated before, is a chance for the electeds to come forward to the board and talk about what their asks are. This isn't necessarily a decision-making meeting. This is more of a taking things in. If you would like to cut something, feel free, but at this point in time, we're early in the game. We're discussing the content. So in order to help us with that, Michelle put together some graphs. Everything okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So, part of understanding where we are in the budget is getting perspective of the overall budget to the asks and determining what's material and what's not material. So I'm gonna bring up some graphs that Michelle put together for us, and I'm gonna have her, okay, where is it? Overall?
No, the other one, the very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
This personnel overview or this one, the
First
overall
one.
chart?
The first one, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna give the floor to Michelle and have her walk you through this perspective look.
Okay, so this, I know is a lot of data and you see a lot of points on there, but what I did with this one was go through and.
Excuse me, Michelle, can we dim the light any?
Sure.
Or just, yeah.
Yeah, so you can
that-
see it.
Yeah,
It's
so be
kinda
more
hard to see.
visible, yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah, a little more. That's good. We're
Okay,
fine.
okay.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also
Low
shade,
enough
or
too for
pull
you.
shades, we can turn the shades too.
Okay, so what I
background.
did on this was kind of go through and how we break out the budget. So you've got your CapEx, which is capital expense, OpEx, which is your operating or B budget,
Mhm.
your personnel and your revenue, and they're all color-coded based on that. And then the bottom axis is showing the different departments. And it gives you a perspective as far as where like the BOCC falls overall. And I know one of the points that Dina brought up when you guys were looking at the district court was, don't think about cutting right now because it's so small in the whole scheme of things.
Okay.
So this is kind of just to give you an overall perspective of where each department is hitting in the whole entire budget, as far as, those different bullet points.
So your big contributors, obviously, BOCC and KCSO. Those are your key budget drivers.
Uh-huh.
We got a couple little blips here, but for the most part, you can see district courts just little nubbins compared to here.
Mm-hmm.
And this, from 2019, represents the jail.
Okay.
So that's our big skew in Fund 11 for that. So, sorry,
No,
I'll give it back to you. Okay.
Okay, so if you want to go to the next one, which is going to give you I broke it down onto the individual pieces so you can see where each item falls. So this is the personnel, and you can see as far as the fiscal year 19 and the asks for fiscal year 20, where each department is sitting on the graph. So it looks like the biggest is coming in again from the sheriff. But for the most part, it looks like it's pretty static across the board as far as last year and this year,
Mm-hmm.
the overall change.
And also, too, I'll just put in, we had some questions when I did send out the spreadsheet that we'll be looking at. Because we started travel at zero and that kind of skewed things, and because of the 720 plan and all of these budget amendment kind of things, we're comparing to FY19 amended budget. So that kind of smooths out a lot of the noise in
Okay.
the data. So things should look a lot smoother and more gradual in these graphs, so, okay.
So, and then again, same concept, it's the capital expense or CapEx that you're seeing here, the fiscal year 19 amended versus the fiscal year 20. And I think, like Dina said, the biggest jump that you're seeing there for 19 on the BOCC is gonna be related to the jail.
Yeah, that's 19, so big drop in comparison.
So when you say related to the jail, specifically,
So when we pull this data, BOCC represents Fund 11, which is the building fund.
okay.
So in FY19, the building fund held a huge amount of spending related to the jail, which is going to inflate the BOCCs.
Understood.
Because you guys are carrying the weight of all of the building projects.
Got it.
And that's the cars, that's what that is. So,
Okay. And this one is for the operating expense or B budget. And again, it looks like for this one, year over year, it's staying pretty static. I mean, you're not seeing a whole lot of increase by department. So slight increases, it looks like, in the BOCC and the clerk and the KCSO and district court. Look like they're your biggest. Or it look like the departments that are showing a little more, are trending up.
B budget.
Yeah, but for the most part, considering the dollars involved, things are pretty flat.
Okay.
And here's.
And last but not least is the revenue.
Mhm.
Same thing, and you can see where the revenue, where you're projecting the most revenue to be coming in.
And the drop for fiscal 20 attributed to,
Well, we'll be digging into the BOCC departments today,
okay,
so we can determine the drivers of this drop.
okay.
I think we also, didn't we get a windfall for
Was it,
911, or there was some
was there
kind of
some
a
sort of
windfall
a
last year.
lawsuit that,
Yeah, there was a windfall where that might be part of that.
okay.
But we'll be looking at amended versus the ask in your detailed data, so we can probably pull that out pretty quickly. Okay.
Okay. So hopefully, I mean, that gives you guys kind of a visual
Very nice, very
perspective.
well done, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so to add a little more perspective, I did a real highline here. Let me just very quickly jump into another folder. And I will say too that all of the meeting materials for today are sitting out under your O drive under today's date.
Mhm.
So, following in Michelle's footsteps of gaining perspective, I went ahead and focused on this column here,
Mhm.
because if we look at our revenue, our projected revenue, our current expense, that's how much you have left over before you start adding new stuff. So that's your positive before the new stuff. So I went ahead and said, okay, what are the drivers of the deficit? Well, obviously personnel and capital are your biggest drivers.
Mhm.
I also wanted to say for the record too, that this 2% increase includes all employees. So the sheriff wage matrix increase will be part of this number when we fetter that out. And then this Percy increase, we can't do anything about, we have to pay that.
Yes,
And then this, of course, is the projected but not final number for insurance. And we're working with Alliant to refine that number. Keep in mind that this number is based on February data. So we're gonna have a lot better trends at our next meeting. And this likely will be revised downward.
that's the 16% roughly.
Right,
Okay.
right. So, we're holding our breath, crossing all of our limbs, and hoping for the best.
Okay.
So, with that, this is your meeting. So I'm gonna pull up, oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's go back to the agenda. So here are all your departments. So Bill, this is the spreadsheet that I sent out. I have this on the screen. And what I've done is I've added some percent change at the right, just to show increases, decreases, that kind of thing. So we can go through and look at these items, and we can expand on these items and look at details, or we can go to each summary, the capital summary, personnel summary, and look at the BOCC lines and have you look at those more deeply. How would you like to proceed?
Thoughts?
Sure, I actually went through all the tabs last night, except I think two departments I didn't get to.
Okay.
What is personnel allocation? 'Cause I see a lot of those.
7,700, so
Yes.
that is an excellent question. So let us go to where those live. All right, so what you're looking at right now is the personnel summary. And I think it's, Sean, is there any way to sharpen the image on this?
Not that I'm
Do we
aware of.
know, do we know if there's a way with the projector to sharpen the image, because it's kind of hard to read. Okay, so be that as it may, we use 7,700 as a placeholder for every single personnel ask. So the way our system works is we have a separate module in our ERP system that takes and pulls all of the payroll information in from payroll into this module and calculates what the current costs are for personnel. That's that number that's up in the first chunk of your summary, okay? So all of that pulls in through the position budgeting. So we can't put new asks because they haven't been approved yet, they don't live in payroll. We put all of our new asks in that 7,700 line, it's just a blob. But it's a way for us to show discreetly new asks from current expense. So this sheet represents everything sitting in 7,700.
Okay.
So the top part is new positions, and the bottom part is raises, overtime, class changes,
Okay.
holiday buyback, anything that's not a discrete new position.
Okay. So if you go back to the prior slide that showed the recap.
Okay, this one?
No, it was the next one that showed by department, the
Okay.
BOCC department.
Sure.
That's it. Okay, I'm gonna just go after some of the more glaring
Okay,
for now. Okay, general accounts, indirect administration, line item 66, that's it. Okay, so we have an increase in expense and we have a decrease in the revenue.
right,
Explanation?
all right.
Thoughts?
So the decrease in revenue, interfund transfers. So this is something that I probably should have pulled out, but what happens as part of our process is when we're doing raises, when we're doing our budget and we adopt our budget. Hi.
Is
I'm
it
sorry,
fuzzy?
go ahead, Rick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I
No,
was
no,
just
go
called
ahead.
over here.
Oh.
Is it fuzzy, too fuzzy for you guys, or?
Yeah, is there a way to sharpen
Focus.
the image?
Yeah, but I'm not that tall.
Okay, so what do I need to do?
I
I think there
chair.
might be a,
Yeah, you could use a
Yeah,
chair.
take a look.
focus ring up here somewhere.
All right, well, he's working. So interfund transfers, it's money moving around between funds, it's not necessarily revenue, so it's skewing your number. So this 460, that was medical insurance that we moved over from Fund 14 and then spread out to the departments when we amended the budget. This represents all the raises that were sitting in BOCC that got smeared out. So the reason we're not seeing it here is because we don't budget interfund transfers, but we had interfund transfers when we amended the budget because we took everything from all the pool budgets that were sitting in BOCC and smeared them out to all the departments.
Okay, so if you're incrementing in one case, you're decrementing in another.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so anything,
it's a
yeah.
wash in essence?
It's a wash in essence, so it's kind of just noise. So anything that's an interfund transfer, I'm thinking that there's gonna be a few of those. But when we say interfund transfer, it's just a movement of funds, and BOCC is kind of the holding pot for all these big pool
Understood.
budgets that we push down. So that's why, but again, it's because we're looking at the amended budget. If we were looking at the adopted budget, all of your budgets would be inflated because you're holding all that extra stuff for everyone else. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Nancy?
The increase in the budget that you see there, the $50,000, that's for Sean's contract that was moved over from B&G,
Yep.
from their salaries over to our budget to pay his contract.
Okay, once again, a wash.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep,
So-
and that's why I've got that comment there too.
Okay. Now, if we look at the next line,
This one?
yeah, RMO,
Yep,
what happened there with this huge increase in expense?
so, let's look.
Because some of their salaries are a good part of it is grant covered, you think? Seems almost bizarre.
It's just, where's that?
They don't have $1 million in salary.
It doesn't even make any sense to me.
Most of their wage, I think, is grant covered.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your.
Do you want to flag it, Dina? Just so
I'm gonna
you can-
flag it, cause that doesn't look right.
Are we looking at the 98,256?
892,000.
Yeah,
Line item 174.
that doesn't look right to me.
That's
Let me
not on
flag
the
that.
spreadsheet that we have either, because it's, I got a $379 increase.
Okay, so let me do this.
On the spreadsheet that Leanna sent, it's 221,734, and FY20 is 222,113.
I did change the name today, and I wonder if I hit something and change that number. Does that look better?
Yes.
That should be, yeah.
Is that what you have, Sean?
Yeah, I have 222,113 for a $379.
Oh, 222,113
Yeah, $222,113 for a
Did
$379
you
increase.
grab that
for a $379
Did you grab the
Yeah.
revenue line?
Now, the one below
Oh, I
there,
might have.
So take exactly 10,000 off.
Which is the last number?
I think it was for revenue.
Yeah, I might have hit the revenue line, hang on.
There you go.
Yep, that's what it is. My apologies. Okay.
Now, when you show revenue for them,
Mhm.
is that actually grant revenue?
I don't know that there is any grant revenue sitting in there. Look at that.
yeah, what is the revenue?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Because I don't know.
If we have to, we can call.
Yeah.
So if it's the $10,000, the way it was explained to me is that in some of their grants, they put in admin costs to kind of cover their time. So that's what they're
Where they use it
projecting.
in
Yeah.
kind, I
is
think,
Indirect
yeah.
revenue.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
That
Yep.
makes sense.
so their labor is considered like a grant match.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I must have fat fingered something when I changed GMO to RMO manually this morning.
Okay, no problem.
All right, my
At least we
apologies.
got it.
Okay, yeah, $379.
That's what I understood.
So then, feel free to jump in. Leslie.
Sure.
If I come down the column to, I'm using the Excel, I guess if it's Excel, I'm using the 3-digit identifier. So under community development, 340 or 10.1.020, come down, there you go.
Okay,
So David is adding about 100 and just quickly 40,000.
yep,
But his revenue's up about
Yep,
But his revenue's up almost 500,000.
so he factored in his increased fees.
Okay.
So, yeah, in his documentation, he added in projections for his increased fees and what that would bring. Part of this is capital,
Go ahead.
so I think he is asking for.
80,000.
That's
Yeah.
for the for the
Remodel.
renovation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we
okay.
can look at that in more detail when we look at the capital summary.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, so I put it at a very high level, I just put in some commentary and
Okay.
everything that was just really,
Now, I think he had, salary 7002 at $61,000 more. So on
There
my
it is,
sheet,
yeah.
it's line 341,
Yeah,
but,
there you go.
okay,
$61,000 increase.
right.
Now,
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead. No, go.
well, I just, why?
He's been down at least one planner
He must
when,
have a personnel request in there
we
something.
lost-
Right, but I'm almost wondering if
I'm
it was a
sorry?
frozen,
For
Yeah.
2 years, he's been down one.
so I'm almost wondering if it was a frozen position that he's asking to open back up.
yeah, I brought that back in.
Okay,
Brought
So
that
it
back.
was the
Okay.
one that he froze two years
It
ago?
was that manager one. Yeah, that's
Okay.
still in there.
And
Okay.
he's had another departure, last week or two, within the last 2 weeks.
Right.
I don't know how that's factored in. There was another question too on the, Nancy, I think you looked into it, the consultants? Go ahead.
He has a substantial amount of money budgeted under consultants, but we haven't used that much over the last 5 years. So he has 75,000 budgeted under consultants, but he has never exceeded 17,000 in expenses.
So there's probably an easy, well, I say easy, haven't asked him, but potentially $50,000 to $60,000 cut right there, if he's not used it.
I'm gonna mark that in orange.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
and I would just mark the 80,000, I guess we can get to it later in
Yeah.
capital, because if we're doing the whole survey, is he gonna spend $80,000 and then move?
Right.
So that's I think it's just premature.
Good point. Good point.
I'm gonna make a note here, it's,
Yeah, so you wanna mark that. This is good.
let's see, this is the nitty gritty, this is how we.
Bill, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I'm following you on YouTube.
Okay, good.
Oh, how cool is
So
that?
then there's
Yeah,
also
she live streamed it.
7005
There you go.
is another, one that I have a question on.
Okay,
Temporary seasonal, it's a new $42,000 ask, it looks like.
I wonder, should we call him
Good.
while we're on it? His internal extension is 1082.
So we can't use this phone,
You can't
my
use that.
understanding is, so I didn't bring a cell phone. You know what, I guess. Thanks, Keith.
It's fully equipped.
I'm wondering if
Phone,
that's
dogs.
coming in from, I'm wondering if that's coming in from a mid-year. Did he, do you recall, did he have some temp needs during the year? Because if so, it would be in our current expense that would be brought over, but it would feel like it was new because it wasn't in there last year.
Plus, he contracts out some of his plan reviews,
Should be right up.
Right,
He does,
Okay.
he has one person that works from home.
and I think
Yeah.
that's,
He's actually on
he
his
used
way
to
up.
work for us.
Great.
I can't think
Okay.
of his name. I'm sorry?
He's on his way up.
Okay, cool.
Kirk Dane. Kirk Dane.
I
He
think I
may be
know.
one
no,
Joe.
it might be another one.
Where would,
He was a building inspector.
That's, Kirk
Sean would
Dane
know,
was.
yeah, he was
it's
one
it's
of the,
Bob Ankerson.
Oh.
that's one thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He should be in here somewhere else though, because he's been doing that for
He's been doing that for
a
a
couple
while.
of years now.
But every year, when you have a temp, it's like you have to start over.
Okay.
So that's why,
Maybe
that's why that's there.
Maybe that's him then.
Yeah, I think it is. And I can verify that in position budgeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
in 349 retirement, Dina, it's up $10,000. Is that the Percy adjustment?
Well, retirement is going to move with any increases here. So if we brought that manager position back in, then all of those
that's
things
right.
move with it
That's right.
in the position
Yeah,
budget.
so all that stuff about retirement, unemployment insurance, group insurance, social security, I didn't
Yeah,
even
all
look
that
at
stuff,
those.
if it's
Yeah,
a current
you
expense, it
Yeah.
all calculates with it.
Yeah.
And in truth, I mean, if you just look at his department as a whole, unless I misinterpreted something, he's running at a net, in terms of revenue, at a net positive.
Oh, yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, he's positive. He's up 29%.
Yeah, yeah.
So any increased revenues are,
More than offsetting.
over 4 times, almost 5 times offsetting.
Have a
Hey,
seat.
David?
Hey, how's everyone?
You can just turn it so you can face all of us.
Oh,
I'll do
yeah,
this for you.
He's sitting on the front row.
In the front
Wanna
row.
kick your feet up? Quick question. You budgeted some $47,000 for temp?
42.6.
Is it 40?
42.6.
Oh, 43, excuse me, almost 43. There you go. See the line item? Salaries, temporary,
I see
seasonal.
it, but I'm confused by it.
Well, we bring back temps every year. We have to re-ask for them every year. I'm wondering if this is your temp. We all know who your temp is, so you're continuing with him, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that just gets
Would
brought
he
back.
be in that category, David?
Yes,
Bob?
yes,
Is
yes,
that Bob?
yes.
That-
Okay,
Because I don't want him as a permanent employee. A.
Right.
B, he's asked to be permanent every year. Every year I keep pushing our building inspectors to be fully certified so we can do this in-house. It's just hard from when they're out in the field every day, up to here every day, doing inspections, it's hard for them to come back and study.
right, right. I'm just curious, Dina, though, why wouldn't it be in the FY19 amended?
Because if it got pulled from the temp pool, then it would be in a different spot.
Okay, so the BOCC 70,000 wouldn't cover community development? Okay.
No.
Okay,
I'd
so
have
they
to
have
look
their
at
own.
that, I would have to look at that more closely, but it could have been a mid-year thing,
Okay.
so.
And David, you say you've got 30 more minor subdivision requests that you're working on versus this time last
35%.
year?
35%.
35%.
So 35%
More.
increase.
Right, and that's just minor subdivisions.
That's
Everything
just-
else is going up like that too.
Okay,
It's really busy.
I noticed, okay. But your revenue looks like we're projecting that it's gonna be up substantially,
It should be.
which is good.
Well, in the biggest lion's share would be building permits, because the opt-outs were a lot less than regular permits.
And regular permits, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we, anything else within?
The only other
David's
thing
area?
would have been that 61, oh, she shut it now.
Position frozen.
The
Yeah,
61,000, just double checking it was a frozen position that you brought back.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
And you're down 2 planners? The one that
No,
left?
we actually just hired one, so I'm down one.
Oh,
We're one away, and that could come in soon. We may actually be fully staffed for the first time in years.
Oh,
that's
fantastic.
good.
Yeah, well, I was able to promote from within, Mary moving into the planning
Into
management.
the- Mary Shaw.
Right,
yeah, okay, good,
yeah.
Good.
It's always nice.
good job. Bill, do you have any questions for David?
No, I don't, but it's amazing how nicely this YouTube thing is working out.
Well, that's great.
Good.
Good.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
every once in a while, technology does serve us well.
Between YouTube and Nancy's efforts, I think this really looks very promising for the future.
Cool. And David, just so you know, the 80,000 for the renovation, and Leslie brought up a good point, because we're budgeting for a new building or 2, I think we may put that on hold, because
Sure.
you might wind up
Figured
benefiting
as
in that
much.
whole effort.
Sure.
Right, that makes sense.
Are we okay then with David?
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, David.
You're very welcome. Bye now.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right.
So the first BOCC one, we just skimmed through it. Can we go back there?
Sure.
Go ahead.
All right. So I know what the personnel is.
So it's driven by.
Thanks, Keith.
We went over this yesterday, if you have questions about
The
the
91.
increase,
Yeah,
yeah,
go
Yeah.
in
ahead.
the regular salaries.
Mhm.
That is from adding Nancy's position, and moving Leanna up into also the exempt staff, and then the regular staff went down because of Alethea leaving.
Okay,
So that's the difference in the personnel.
okay.
And your wage isn't real big. A lot of this also is driven by benefits.
Mm-hmm, right.
Let's see if there's anything else sticking out. I think you guys are pretty flat. And you actually cut
Yes,
your
I
travel
recall.
up.
Yeah, we cut the travel.
Yeah. So really, you guys are living pretty lean.
Okay, so 7006,
Mhm.
because I find these like all over the place, so I just don't know. Is service awards 5,700?
Here you go. 450.
I got 450.
450.
So it's the same as last year,
Okay.
no increase.
So, then, okay, so it's a different one then that I found.
Are you thinking 7,700?
Nope, 7006, so it's under another one. It'll be, that's what I'm saying, I kept finding
Oh,
it
it's
in different
another- under
places, like I have a
another department.
$10,000 one, I've got the $5,700 one, so I'm just curious why we have so much.
I think, Nick asked for some service awards.
Yeah, that was like a $1,500 or less or something,
Okay,
so.
there
this
are
is-
service awards here and there increases.
Okay, so,
I can speak to a little bit of that.
okay,
Nancy Jones for the record. So we have 3 different programs that are under that. The 10,000 you're talking about would have been a B budget item most likely, which would be the employee breakfast that we did last year.
Okay.
And so we moved that money between different benefit programs over the years. Last year it was moved into that. Then we also have the service awards for 5, 10, 15, 20 years of service. We also have the referral program. And so it's likely that what you're looking at are those 3 different programs.
okay,
And we can get you more detailed information on them.
okay. That answers my question. Okay.
Thanks.
And then legal services, 8103. And once
Mhm.
again, I don't know if I'm, because it just got overwhelming with all the BOCC stuff. Okay, so 80. And when I started taking my notes, I didn't realize there was so
And
many
actually
BOCC.
I think you might be
An
thinking about
8103
003,
here.
Which one?
the 003 account.
Okay, so on my note, oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Gotta pick the right one.
Right. Okay, see, there's that merit system and award to 8245. So that's kind of what I was looking at too. So I think that's something that we need to talk about as a board if we're gonna do employee breakfast every year or every other year. So,
Yeah, we can flag it.
okay.
Bill, do you have any thoughts?
No, not really. And one thing, just a technical thing is, it's hard, it's difficult, I should say, for me to read the detail on the screen from YouTube. It's not quite big enough. I can get it, but just barely. But no, I'm listening very carefully, and
Does that
so
help?
far I have. Pardon?
I'm making it bigger, does that help?
Yeah, I'm trying to, yeah, and I've got my glasses on too, so.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we're looking,
Better.
so we're looking at specifically at BOCC. And,
Right.
and the item, yeah, the item is merit system and awards, $10,000,
Right,
which includes the employee
It
breakfast.
is included, it's in the.
right, I see that line 102.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm following.
So the
Okay.
question is, and again, we don't have to decide it today unless you have some hard thoughts or firm thoughts. Do you want to continue? Excuse me, should we do it every year? Should we do it every other year? Do you have any thoughts, or do you want to?
My thoughts are right now, do that every year, because it's important in the, and those kinds of recognition programs are not gonna be budget breakers.
It just is a lot of employee time too, so I was just factoring
Yeah,
that
it
in.
is, It is.
And if I don't really want it to, I want somebody to look forward to it and not necessarily like, oh, it just happens every year, I'll catch it next year. I want it to be a priority, so that's why I was thinking every other year.
Okay, well, that's worth discussing.
Okay.
Sure,
Okay, so
Okay.
this is one of those items we'll put on the deferred decisions.
yes.
Yeah, put it on the deferred, yeah.
Okay.
I'm kind of leaning toward to doing it annually, but that's okay, we can take it up. Okay, next.
All right, so do we have anything more within 003?
Like you said, Dina, we're running.
Oh,
we're using-
independent auditor, 8105.
Yep.
So is that, do we pay for iDaily? Is that
Yes.
where that is?
Yes,
Okay.
and that was an approved contract just recently.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Okay,
Perfect.
let's keep going.
Oh, legal services, 8103.
Yeah, what is that?
It's for outside representations needed.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not, it's not contracts.
No,
Right.
no,
Right, which is
no.
still,
Conflicts runs a lot higher than that.
So I'm guessing
Okay.
this is any legal services that we can't do in-house,
okay,
That's fine.
okay?
all right. 8308. Seminars, professional associations. I was just curious kind of what lived in there.
So that would be what, like IAC, NACO?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, I have
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
listing
Oh, good.
of what's included in there, just give me a sec. That is the PAC dues, the IAC dues, the IAC Public Lands Assessment, IAC District 1, IAC NFSC dues, IAC County Directory, NACO dues, and KMPO.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
And the ones that are budgeted out of 003 are the ones that tend to benefit the county as a whole. We have a couple of those smaller ones that we budget directly out of our department.
Okay. And then, so I'm done with that heading. And veterans services,
Mhm.
that is a 6,000, the revenue's gone. The revenue's gone. I gotta take that out.
Yeah, because
that
we
payment's
did
gone,
away
right?
with the rent.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
500.
so, yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's gone.
So that,
Did we make it effective October 1st, or did we make it effective immediately?
Oh, it was immediate.
Okay.
Ronnie,
Oh,
okay,
we made it
Ronnie's
effective
nodding
immediately.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, immediately. Okay.
okay,
All right, so that's gone.
Okay. So,
That's interesting. We actually run an expense that high in veteran services?
is salary, is
What-
what,
What do we pay for? Do we have two salaries there?
yep.
yes.
We have
Yeah, you have
Scott.
two people.
Mhm.
I think there's three people.
Is there three?
I thought the state was paying for.
The state's paying
It's
for Daryl.
75,000
Right.
alone.
I'm
The
sorry?
two- The two salaries are 75,000 alone.
Yes, we got
The
this one.
state
Yeah.
pays for Daryl,
Mhm.
but I don't know if the state pays for Daryl's assistant, but they have two people at the counter and Scott.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because the insurance is
Yeah,
just,
he's running reasonably.
Yeah.
Security services?
Security services, that's probably related to a contract.
Okay.
yeah. And then,
Telephone, that's another one where we don't have
You
a
don't
lot of
have much of
choice.
No.
a choice.
Um,
Other than that, he's not doing too badly.
A little bit of
Seminars
travel
are up a
there.
little bit, okay.
yeah,
And then some of these, you know, they're ins and outs,
yeah.
moving around stuff.
Okay, there's the revenue again, which we.
Right, and I've marked that
Yeah. Okay.
in orange underneath, so we'll be sure, let me just do it one more time at the top level to make sure I don't miss it. All right, where did they
So I have a lot of IT
Oh, yeah,
questions.
IT's the big one.
So I don't know if we wanna do
Yeah,
that
let's go
later.
to- The only other thing I was gonna note, but I don't think there's anything, back to community development, the hearing bodies. Yeah, that makes sense. If anything, we're gonna wind up with more hearings, I suspect, this year than last, so if he's holding flat, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Okay, fair enough.
so I don't know, do you wanna do
Yeah,
little
let's-
ones that take less time and do
Now-
IT after our first break or something?
Yeah, let's go after the biggie.
Okay,
You wanna do IT?
sure. And who do we have who would come for IT?
Would that be James?
I don't think,
James
yeah,
is not here.
yeah, James isn't here, so,
It's grants.
So you've got a decrease here, my guess is that's a project,
Okay,
so let's just poke around at
yeah, let's
this
poke
level
around,
and
and if we
just
need him
kinda
to come in, we can
see
bring him in after the
Okay.
break.
if we can, okay, yeah, so it looks like last year there was some computer equipment purchased.
So you took that down,
And,
okay.
and not as, maybe not as much equipment
Uh-huh,
needed, so
uh-huh.
that decreased that,
Okay,
okay? So let's go up.
8068, non-capital computer replacement. I just was curious, you know, cause they had that big project, so,
Yeah, that's just an ongoing program to replace all the computers in the county. They have a list and they just rotate through,
And they
so they
rotate
just
on.
fund a flat amount every year to
right, but
replace
it's
everyone.
broken up. I mean, they have that fund several places, so I just was curious overall how much,
Well, this is the
That's-
sheriff's
right.
IT, so
Mhm.
that's probably sheriff
right.
computers.
should we flag it, or no need? What do you think?
Well, it'll come up kinda over and over again,
Okay.
so I don't know. It's,
Okay, if
I'm
it's
just
something
curious.
that you wanna discuss further, I'll just mark it.
okay.
Yeah, and it may just be a very simple answer. Other
Okay.
professional services, it looks like they've tripled it.
Okay,
I'm not
so is
sure.
that a question?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
flag it, I don't.
Okay,
I don't know.
and we can just research these.
Mhm.
Right,
Okay.
Okay,
Lodging,
some
okay,
travel.
it's not a big deal.
yeah.
This is new software programs, and keep in mind too that this is all the sheriff has a lot of software programs.
Right,
So because they, as you can see, they added new stuff, they're gonna have software maintenance.
The other thing the sheriff was looking at, it might be embedded in this 8516, is some 10 grand for a Warren, the Kootenai County Fire Chief, cornered me. I think he might have cornered you too when we went to the impact fee meeting. And I think it's a software program that if there's an emergency call, it flags the nearest point that that individual needs to contact or some such thing, and I'm wondering if that's not in there.
Possibly, could be in the sheriff's budget.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
so
We
then.
can
can
ask,
research that,
we
too.
can research it.
Right, so like the computer equipment's gone down quite a bit, but I guess I'm just curious as to if we're replacing computers, what's the computer equipment? You know, it's just a lot of specialized stuff that,
Doesn't make any sense that number being.
Well, it could be
that far off.
associated stuff.
well, I think they might have had a
But
project.
then you have a software
Yeah.
that is increased. So
Right,
these are kind of all jumping around
Right.
within.
right. So those are the kinds of things I'm just curious about, you know, if you've
Sure.
got 67,000 in software and then 20,000 in software maintenance, what,
All right.
I just kinda wanna
flag it.
know what's going on.
Well, yeah, but there's
That's all.
multiple software programs, right? And I think there was a Spillman upgrade, wasn't there a Spillman?
Yeah, it says
Mhm.
annual increases for Motorola, Spillman, and an addition of QuickBooks Enterprises for civil to annual support contract.
okay, so that's the maintenance part?
Yeah, there's some maintenance,
Okay.
hardware maintenance increase, for solutions as well as hitting the 8199 line, so. He had an overall increase of 19.7.
Okay. Nancy, do you see anything in here?
I don't have enough information to make any determinations.
Right.
Okay, so we've got several items to flag.
Mhm.
Okay,
It's nice that his revenue's up. Yeah, 3 times, almost 4 times. The expenses, okay.
Alright, so it looks like.
His revenue's down on that one.
It's down.
Down on
Down.
that one, yeah. I was looking at the higher one.
Oh. Okay.
And miscellaneous revenue, let's look.
Yeah, flag it. This is good because if we bring Grant in, we can
Yeah,
knock
it'll all
all
be
this out in
highlighted.
one sitting, yeah.
Okay. All right, so the next one down, I guess indirect, yeah, that one.
Yeah,
There.
so mild decrease there,
Mhm.
That's fine.
PC control,
But-
network,
If that's us, what's the, 8516 is what I was looking at. inside.
under, PC control.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not. Let's see.
Okay, so we have an
8516.
increase in software maintenance. So it looks like some non-capital equipment was bought last year, but not this year. And then there's some software maintenance associated with a new purchase from last year. So they kind of net out with a net decrease.
Right.
Got it.
Okay, so let me, 9005, okay, so this is not the one that I have notes on, so let me, I'm just trying to,
Is it this one?
I don't know, your guess is as good as mine.
That's a 10%.
This is under network.
Okay. Yeah, sadly, I just kind of stopped at IT,
All right.
BOCC, IT admin.
So there's your big one. Computer equipment.
Yes, 9005, okay, so I have that one just listed as admin. Oh, so that should be network, okay.
Mhm.
And then we've got some software maintenance.
Yes, which is another huge one.
Okay.
So I guess I was looking, so that's networked, so that must mean countywide, do we think?
Yeah, and a lot of software maintenance, most software maintenance for the county, all the programs that IT manages for all the departments live under those org sets.
Okay,
So they hold all of those budgets.
like
Got it.
New World and,
Yes.
okay,
Like New
Yeah.
World, yeah.
all right. And then, computer user training was more just like a question, 8315,
Okay.
just, like,
All
hey,
right.
what goes into that? You didn't have any last year, so,
So, yeah, now I know that, there was some training associated with the new website. And
Oh,
we finished
okay.
that at the end of the year, but we can find out what the training is for.
okay.
Yeah, actually, do you have that one handy, the computer training costs for?
I'm just looking in there to see if I can find it, but I don't.
Okay, we can research all of these.
Okay, keep going.
All right, then I guess I just have one that's just plain IT. Would we want to guess which one that is?
Plain old IT?
Yeah, so I don't
Okay.
think I had a problem with anything with imaging.
So this one?
Maybe. Salary, whatever one I was looking at, salaries were up 58,000. So it might be inside something. Yeah, it wasn't GIS.
Not GIS, I bet it's here. Indirect administration.
It's gonna be 7002. That's where I was looking. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
That's it, the
That's it.
$58,000.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was the one that we just,
Yeah, we just approved one,
mid-year.
didn't we? Want to flag it?
Isn't that the application system manager?
Yeah, didn't we approve something just 2
Yeah.
weeks ago?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
would be a mid-year thing.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff, if it's up in these smaller numbers,
Uh-huh.
that's
Mhm.
coming from position budgeting, which reflects 720 raises.
Okay,
Okay,
And any mid-year changes.
got it.
Okay.
Because any new asks, they're all sitting under this 7,700.
Right.
So there is
new ask.
one ask for a new person, that's why the big percentage change.
right,
So there is an actual ask for that. And I
okay.
think there might, I'm not sure if there's some overtime in there, there might be some non-personal things as well, but we can look at the personnel as well.
And then consultants 8101 is up as well, so I just was wondering
Okay.
what they did there,
We
so,
can just flag that.
okay.
And it could be that this is the part year for our, property, I'm not sure what Stan's position name is, but they're budgeting a
Yes.
fractional year to train and transition the new
Yes.
person.
Right.
My guess is that's what this is, that's
Well,
6,000.
yeah, I'm not sure where that's put, because I was actually looking for that specifically. So, cause
Yeah.
it's 18,000 is what they asked for.
Right,
So-
I think that's a full year, and this might be a part year.
Okay,
But it could be part of it in personnel and part of it down in the B budget here.
Okay.
So we'll research this one,
okay.
okay?
And then once again, there's like $4,100 in user training, so that's just questions. I'm not, looking to cut anything, I'm just looking for questions, like,
Sure.
what does that mean? So. Okay. All right, so I think the next one that I looked at was BOCC insurance. And once again, that was just kind of a question. We have vehicle repairs in there, so I was wondering if that was more like our deductible.
We have a vehicle repairs line in case we wreck a car,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we charge that. So
Okay.
if you're talking about Fund 13,
8502 is what?
under
Yeah.
liability insurance,
Maybe.
yeah. So this one's flat. Was there an increase?
Well, it was $30,000 is what I was looking, the line item. So it's BOCC insurance. Yeah, try that one.
Okay.
I'll do much better next time.
No, this is really good
Yeah,
questions,
there it
and
is.
we're kind of
Vehicle.
taking a new
Yeah.
approach.
30,000.
Right.
Yeah, that's for any vehicles that get damaged, we just have a separate line item. And
Okay.
then insurance premiums, that's just driven by our premiums.
Should we take a break at this point? Did we wrap up ITs? Or
It sounds like it.
Well, all the questions I had, we
Yeah.
wrapped up IT.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay,
Bill?
Yeah,
Anyth-
I'm fine.
You wanna take a break? 9:50.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, 9:52, resume at 10?
yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, do you want us to call you back, Bill?
Or
Yeah,
did-
that'd be good.
Okay, we'll call you back.
All right, thanks.
We're officially resuming, excuse me, our meeting. Once again, Bill Brooks has joined us by phone, and so joining us also now is James Martin, Director of Information Technology, IT. So where are we? We have some items, Leslie?
Yes, yeah, so just some highlighted things in there.
So, do we wanna go to this one first?
Sure. I just was curious on some of the, like the non-capital computer replacement. I know that you've got the program that continually does that, but is that's strictly in buildings, it's not the car computers or what?
Oh, for the sheriffs, yes.
Yeah.
That is strictly for the building computers and their laptops that they have, the PCs and the laptops at the sheriff's office.
Okay, is that
Yes.
all of sheriff's office or is there another item somewhere else?
There is under PC control, those, and the ones under PC control, which is .41,
Mhm.
is 75,000. That's for all the computers and laptops everywhere else other than the sheriff's office.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So this is the only time it's split out. Okay, I'm good with that. And then other professional services.
sorry.
I know, I have a quick
Oh.
question. There's non-compute, the one that she's on right now, non-capital computer replacement for 60,000.
Mhm.
And then down in the capital, there was a pretty substantial amount of money from last year, the 192 for computer equipment. Are those different computers?
From last year, no, that
It's a
probably was a
capital project.
project.
Yeah, probably.
Was that the website?
I'm just wondering if they replaced computers with that 192,000
No.
that we're not going to need the 60,000 this year?
It's a
It's
project.
separate? Okay.
Mhm.
It's a project that I could
5,000.
look up, well, I don't have it with me, but, yeah, it would have been a project, not necessarily computer equipment. It fell best under that particular expense
And
code.
we can look that up.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my other question, professional services. I'm just curious what kind of stuff that,
Would entail.
yeah.
That is for support for our Spillman server. It is just kind of so they can monitor the health of the Spillman server system.
Okay.
Just to make sure it's always running optimally. We'd really be in a bind if it were to ever go down, so we're a little more concerned about it. We have an expert that dials in and checks out both the hardware and software to make sure it's running optimally.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
Perfect.
Just let me know what it is.
yeah, and we don't come back later. What was
Yeah,
that?
precisely, yeah.
Okay, so computer software maintenance and, let's see, there's something, yeah, so what's the software maintenance and then the software?
See, the software maintenance for 8516, is that cost center for the sheriff's office?
Yeah, we're
Yes.
still, yeah,
Okay,
we're still
sure.
sheriffs.
Is that Spillman?
Yes, the majority of it is Spillman.
Okay.
Real quick.
Because you had a Spillman update, didn't you?
We did have a Spillman update, but their ongoing annual maintenance is very substantial as it is. All right, and they're now, it's a number of different items. The majority, if we're just talking about the increase, the majority of that increase is due to the Spillman system annual maintenance going up.
Looks like you have Windows Server increase in client licensing.
Right, those are annual maintenances that we pay from year to year, and they,
Okay.
more often than not, go up anywhere from 3 to 4% per year.
Okay.
We call it inflation, but they pass on those costs to us.
Sure, all right, and then, the software.
This
Is
is
that
likely
gonna
a
be-
new,
Yeah,
new thing.
And this is sheriff's,
Yes, so that's, what expense code is that again, 9006?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. That is that for 5,009?
67,000.
67,000.
It looks like you've got a BOMGAR remote support solution, a Dual Shield advanced authentication by DeepNet, and a mobile arrest form, which is the
Oh, yes.
Spillman.
Right. And that adds up to 75,555. I'm trying to see where the 67 is coming from. But, because what you have there, does that add up to?
Well, I don't have a calculator here to.
I ran a budget worksheet, and all the items that I have add up to 75,555, but it has those same items as you have.
Are they in different line items maybe?
No, they're
900, it's the,
06, I was looking under software. The only thing I have under software in this is the Agency 360 training software for 5,957.
That's under new program,
yeah.
5997, so that's new programs because it's not really capital.
Yeah, so if we're talking for the cost center dot 41, which we are for the sheriff, and 9006, the only software that we budgeted out of that was the 5,997 for Agency 360 training software.
Okay,
This
so
one right
IT,
So did we just cut $67,000?
it's this one, right? So here's some new stuff.
That's the cost center, yeah.
Right, so here's all your new stuff, new
Okay.
desks
Uh-huh,
for IT sheriff.
Okay.
okay.
So you've got, you got a scanner, that's the bomb guard that Michelle mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gonna be, here are the, account numbers
Okay.
that are associated with them,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
And,
So that's right,
Those-
there's the
I was
67,000.
gonna say, those middle three items, the 24, the
Yeah.
20, and the 23, virtually may be your 67.
and it
I
sounds
didn't
like
do the
they're all
math,
related. Are they all
Okay.
related?
Well, not really. The dual advanced authentication is a heightened sense of security provided for access. It's called two-factor authentication. And one of the factors, and I can't explain it nearly as well as Grant or Val, but one of the factors is what your password is, and the second could be something like something you carry with you, but it requires, rather than just one factor, it requires two factors in order to log into some of the special systems out of the sheriff's office.
Okay,
And this criminal justice system is, they keep, it's kind of like the ID card where they keep pushing back the requirement date for it. But CJIS is saying that that is something that has to be done for public safety agencies.
So the 67,000, in your opinion, is imperative?
well, go line by line.
Yeah, go line
Okay.
by line. You know, and to start off with, we think that they're all imperative. but
Well, yeah,
Everybody thinks
everybody
that.
thinks that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can they do their job if one of those or two or three went away?
Not as efficiently. Again, we sincerely wouldn't have asked for it if it wasn't needed.
Okay.
I'd have to look at the actual justifications
Uh-huh,
for the copier, printer, scanner.
And
the
that
sheriff's
Well,
kind of
that's-
stuff is on
yeah.
your forms too. All the
Yeah.
forms
That's
in your
right,
binder
that's
have
right.
those justification.
Okay.
names and-
They're all in there.
But
Let's,
mobile-
go ahead, I'm sorry,
No,
finish your
no, I
thought.
was just gonna say, the mobile arrest form is something that would make the sheriff's deputies writing reports much more efficient. It would tie into the Spillman system better than what they're currently doing outside of
Okay.
the system and having to import them. So could they live without it? Absolutely. We've been living with that for many years.
okay.
It's just,
What's the ongoing cost, do you know?
it would increase our Spillman
Spillman
maintenance, but
maintenance.
I can get an exact number for you.
I just was curious if there
It
will be one.
would increase the annual maintenance a little bit, absolutely.
They asked for
It's-
that last year, the arrest form?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I
they-
think that was cut last year.
Yes,
Okay.
they've asked for, I think, maybe even 2, possibly 3 years, but
Okay.
it's gotten cut, but they still think it's,
Okay, so,
Sure.
all right, so, okay, so if we go, okay, are you done with this page, or we have more?
I'm good.
Okay,
Okay.
so let's go back, so we can capture the other items.
There we go.
Okay, so, just so that we don't continue to revisit and wind up auguring
Yeah.
ourselves into the ground, are we gonna leave 8516 alone? The Spillman Windows server, I mean, are we okay with that?
I don't think that that's a choice, because those are the things that we have.
if we want to continue to
Yes.
function, those
Got
are
it.
absolute.
Fair enough, so,
Yeah.
If
so
we're
I
gonna cut,
get,
it needs to be somewhere else.
Yeah, so Spillman Windows Server, I mean, I know what that
got it.
means.
So maybe we need some notation, Dina, so we don't come back and revisit it?
I'm just gonna unhighlight it.
Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go, maybe that's the best thing to do,
Yeah.
thanks.
Right, because your new stuff is easier to cut. If you cut maintenance
Yes.
on something of stuff
Yeah.
you already
Yes.
bought, then that kind of undermines the stuff you bought.
Okay,
Right.
so if we move down, computer equipment.
That's the new scanner copier, so that one's fine,
So that's-
9005.
So then we can unhighlight that one, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Here you go.
Okay, so then we
Okay.
know that we can come back to that one if we want, because it's in the
Sure
capital
enough.
pages.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so I'm done with that one. If you, Bill, did you have any questions?
No, it just seems to me that we're getting really into the weeds here in some areas that we really don't have the expertise to make intelligent discriminations about.
Yeah, I think what we're trying to do, Bill, is just highlight or focus on those items where there's an increase that's reasonably substantial, or where something is indicated that might be potential duplication with another line. I get where you're coming from, because my biggest frustration in the last 2 years was getting into the weeds. But I think for now we're okay, because I think you'll find that the next pass over this will be a lighter one, because we're almost eliminating as we go here.
Or
But-
identifying potential
yes.
places to
Or
cut?
identify, right,
Right,
Yeah,
yeah, when we look at the high level, you're gonna know what's in there.
precisely.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so
All right, so
Did you wanna
IT,
address
BOCC. Oh, wait, where do you?
8315, did you
Oh,
want-
I just had a question, because I see that in several different IT spots. Who,
8315?
yeah, yep. Thanks. Forgot about that.
So because this is under network, is that specifically training that has to do with network?
It is, but I'm probably gonna ask if we can conference call Brandon real quick, because as Leslie pointed out, we do centralize all of the training requests. Well, for the sheriffs, there's a separate, but for everybody else, we put it in one pot, which is under the .0 account, so I'm gonna look up real quick to see if I can
Okay.
tell.
And we
Well,
can always come back.
we can always come back. James,
Yeah.
don't sweat it.
Okay.
It's $7,000. We can come back to it. It's not a big deal
Yeah,
Okay,
in the overall scheme of things. But if we go to the next one, 8516, is it?
yes.
software maintenance, and
Yeah.
that's probably associated
Yeah,
with
because
some
you've
new
got a
software.
75% increase there.
Okay,
8516, computer
8516.
software maintenance.
And we're under network control.
Yes.
Yes,
Three.
sorry.
15.
16.
On 16. The majority of the, well, there's numerous increases. That one is for the increase in the backup system support for our backup, the backups we make every night.
Okay.
Trying to look at the other increase. Well, that 24,000 out of a total of 61 is probably the majority of it, of the increase in thinking. And so that is what it is, that the backup system support that we make went up substantially. I don't have the details of that, but again, I could call Grant real quick if we need that.
No,
You
because
know what?
we're not,
We can come back to it.
yeah, we're not cutting right now,
Yeah.
unless we see something glaring.
That's- Yeah.
Okay.
We're just mostly
But
getting
make a
definitions.
note to yourself, okay, so that
Yeah.
you can get back with us in short order. Okay, so
So 9005,
what was the next one, Dina?
9005,
Computer equipment. You have a
Right.
substantial increase there,
yeah,
from about 199 to, what was it?
it's 299.
299.
Yeah, it's 100,000.
Right, it's for the fiber plant out at the jail, meaning just some of the connectivity between the buildings out there, running new fiber that's needed. SAN expansion is a large amount, that's to increase the storage. SAN stands for Storage Area Network.
right.
Okay.
Running out of some space and we need to increase it. And then the VM server replacement is the big capital request that we're making this year, and that's mainly to replace the majority of the servers that we have down the hall in the computer room, that they're at end of life, plus two years or something.
Okay.
So that's something that you would have planned some time ago.
Right, that is in our 10-year capital plan.
Okay, so
Okay.
maybe we ought to leave that line item alone, fair?
I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very principal.
Just
Okay.
just
Yeah.
mark it on there that we did
Look at it,
view it,
yeah.
and yeah. And so I would say 10-year plan, necessary, end of life, or,
Yeah.
Yeah, and, yeah, before we cut that, we'd want to have more detailed discussions with you if we could, because that is really important, that
Yeah.
particular item.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, that's your infrastructure.
Yeah, Sean, did you want?
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to add, they kind of have a 5-year plan, like I have a 5-year plan. So some of their capital could come out of fund balance.
Yeah, so
and-
IT fund balance.
Right,
There's
and
usually-
not have to come out of this.
general, okay.
Right, so
So
stuff
if
like,
you, yeah, if you look at your
We said-
laminated sheet with the purple, that's your assigned fund balance. Customarily, we have 600,000 in there for IT
Yeah.
capital planning for
That
the
just rolls
ongoing,
every
ongoing
year.
IT
Okay.
infrastructure.
so that would
So-
get, it doesn't necessarily reduce your 19 million, but.
It does.
It
Yeah, yes,
does.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
So
Yeah.
you take it from fund balance and,
We took some projects last year from the.
yeah, we
Okay.
did.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, so should we indicate that, so we,
Yeah, can we do that?
Line
Source, is that-
Yes.
Okay.
So for network control for these three, you want that to come from fund balance?
James, is
I-
that,
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
great,
The sand expansion.
so are we taking that out now?
almost quarter of a
I will
million.
make
Try to
a note.
sign it at least so we know.
Yeah, just assigning it,
Just assigning it,
Okay.
all right?
yeah.
Yeah, the sand, I had forgotten to mention that the sand expansion and the BM are both part of our capital plan. I think the fiber plant for the jail
Uh-huh.
was something new that we hadn't anticipated, but we're budgeting for it because it is a need now.
Absolutely,
It's coming up.
okay.
James, is that gonna run the fiber like over to the evidence, little evidence building
I
and
think
stuff?
that's
Is
one
that
of
what
the-
that's for?
I think that's one of the tentacles that's going out.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's what I
And there's
thought.
some other ones too.
Right.
Okay,
All right.
All right, so,
back to here. right, so
I
we good?
think we're good
I think we're
here.
good, keep going. Is there anything else
Mm.
as we go down? Or did we hit them all?
No, I think we have another one. I think my, it just says regular IT.
Regular
Maybe,
IT.
maybe that's the regular IT.
Yeah, 43 on the screen.
Yeah.
She'll do it, what she'll do is she'll put bigger numbers.
You had line,
Term plan that they, we pulled money last year from there.
So we have
Right,
a new
so,
person
oh,
here.
right,
Yeah,
right,
she
so we
will.
figured out the
She does
salary
sign.
thing.
right, so that's okay then, right?
So
Well-
consultants,
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even talked about adding new bodies, right? So,
Right.
that's
But
not,
we picked up the one,
yeah,
okay.
Right.
Now, consultants, James,
8101.
see the,
8101 out of, I'm sorry, which cost center? We have 5, that's why I get
Yeah,
confused
sure.
sometimes.
Yeah.
you're good.
Trust me, I'm
Uh,
confused.
just
Indirect.
indirect
5 cost
administration.
centers.
And that's for,
Is that the dot zero?
Consultants.
oh, is that 10,000?
Yeah.
That was for a 7th month, for this fiscal year's portion of a 7th month,
That's what I
7-month
thought.
contract for Stan Brennan.
That's.
Oh,
what-
good,
Yeah,
okay,
So this was
perfect.
the contract.
okay,
that's
so,
what-
Perfect.
okay,
So,
can
yeah.
we take it off?
Yeah, I'll take off.
The
No, no,
yellow-
but I
the
didn't
yellow.
mean cut it. I mean, I don't wanna go back to it, is what I'm
Correct,
saying.
yeah.
No problem, got it.
Okay,
So can we put Stan, SB or something there under contractor?
Yeah.
Just
So we know
so,
it's not just a general,
Yeah.
yeah, someone's coming back.
yeah, thank you.
Got it.
Okay, good. And then, once again, that user training costs, I'm fine with it. I just wanted to know what it was and why I keep seeing it in all of your cost centers.
Yeah, I'll come back to you with why it's in network control as well as this.
Okay,
Oh, the 8315, that's part of our overall training plan. Those, like the worksheet that the auditor's office sends out that everybody fills out, those were
Yeah, the
specifically
travel training.
identified. I don't have that
You have that.
with me.
that's okay. I
That's
just
fine.
wanted a
It's not in there,
definition.
Jennifer.
okay,
That's all.
so we know what it
It's
is,
too much
Yeah.
detail.
okay? Keep going.
We might be
Let's
at
see,
the end.
so that's,
And then just where that project is done,
It is.
okay, so that's why we have a reduction.
mhm.
And that's it for IT.
Okay,
Um,
you just have, what, a couple, 3 items to get back to us on, is that it?
It is, yes. I would do that.
And you can send us an email, would that
Okay.
work?
copy.
Yeah, Dina, and the
Yeah.
three of us,
Jennifer.
Janet, she needs it, Michelle, so
Nancy?
this,
Yeah.
yeah, Nancy, and so let it, yeah.
You guys.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Nice
James.
shirt, nice shirt.
Okay. So where are we going next?
Well.
Bill, you okay?
Yep, it's fine.
Yeah, we just wrapped up IT for now.
Yep. I
Okay.
heard you.
Well, okay, what's after
know-
IT?
On 11.
Can we do something while we're here?
Sure.
I'm gonna, right off the bat, speaking for me, I am not funding 1.6 million for healthcare.
Okay.
That 16% to me is off the wall. I think we should make some level of decision preliminarily to say,
Sure.
we're not gonna fund it and decide on some amount. I don't know what the correct amount is, but if I had to hip shoot it, I'd take it down in half. We may get
Down to
stumped.
what?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Bill?
One's in line C.
You take it down to what?
Well-
Alliance is next, in the next 2 weeks,
Yeah.
the 23rd, I
Do we
think.
wanna just make a note that we're going to
Yeah,
ask
flag
the
it.
Lion
Yeah, just go ahead.
questions and
Yeah.
ask them what the probability is that it will be this or how much we can.
I'd be willing to go down
Trend.
to 1 million, but we can talk to them on the 23rd and
Yeah,
just
and that's fine. I mean,
because
I'm
remember,
open
our
to-
trend was from February. It's
Yes.
already mid-May.
It's
or
already
ending.
mid-May.
Right, and they're going to be conservative in their calculations because
Sure
they
they
don't
are.
undershoot it.
Right.
Have we ever gone up that high in the past?
Oh, yes,
15%?
yes.
Okay, so when the prior board, it wasn't the prior board, but the board before that,
Yes.
You typically take it out of their fund balance.
they took it out, yeah,
Well,
they,
because we went negative.
we went
they-
negative,
They,
right.
Yeah.
they cut it too far
Right.
and then had to make it up at the end.
How much did they cut it, do you recall?
It was quite a bit. I think it was almost 700,000.
So my concern though is how much we're going to be in the hole this year.
Again, we're gonna have estimates to find out where we are there as well.
Right. So that's why I didn't want to cut it in half
Yeah,
because I don't
and,
know how
and,
much.
and when we get into that and the whole fund balance thing, I think we'll drag Steve in here too, you know, because we keep saying 14 mil, it's really greater than that.
Well, we have 12 of assigned, and we have set aside, what, $500,000 unassigned? For overspend this year, we have 1.5 sitting in assigned healthcare expenses to cover the end of this year.
Right.
And an overshoot for next year, if you decide to use fund balance.
It's purple.
So,
Oh, there it is.
yeah,
There you go.
it's this one.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, so it's that first unhighlighted number.
Yeah, you got a big
1.5.
chunk sitting in there.
Right, so that's to make up for this year,
Correct.
and depending on where we come in, then I would like to leave that alone for next year. Does that make sense? So
Say that
just
again.
Give that cushion. So, let's say that we come in $500,000, we're under over budget, $500,000.
We're overspent for health insurance in FY19 by $500,000, and we have to make the health insurance whole. You'd
Yes.
still have $1 million left sitting in there as a backstop. So say you decided to cut this down to, instead of funding an increase for 1.5,
Yes,
you funded for 900.
fine,
Then if you overspend, you still have $1 million sitting in assigned to cover if you
fair enough,
overspend it.
yeah, I'm okay.
So that's just stuff to think about, but I'm
Yeah, yeah,
interested to see
yeah.
what Dave Smith comes in with
Mhm.
for revised
Yeah.
estimates.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the big driver there. Also keep in mind too, that besides health insurance increase, we also have higher admin fees. And we now have the annual cost of the Plan Source software, because we opted for the software rather than hiring a new person. So that's going to be an ongoing cost every year, where that wasn't last year, there was no ongoing cost there. Also, part of this increase is going to be an increase to our stop loss insurance.
Oh, yeah.
Because the cost of everything else is going up, and because we have high claims, the premiums for the stop loss will also go in, so that's factored in as well. So
Okay.
it's a lot of pieces to that number.
Okay.
And where, I don't wanna jump too far, where is Sean, I say Sean's, 6.7 mil?
All right, I'm glad you asked.
It's just, some of these
That-
biggies are just gnawing at me.
There it is,
Right.
there it is.
Okay, Sean,
Yes.
so Scott, go ahead, why don't you speak, rather than me?
Well, in doing you mean about our conversation with the space study and how it's going so far?
Yeah,
It's becoming very obvious, and we're a little more than halfway through. One building is not
gonna cut it.
gonna cut it. I mean, one building, most likely, don't wanna get the cart out too far in front of the horse, would cover courts for about 10 or 12 years.
Right.
Then the next one would have to take into effect the public defender and what moves get made from this building. It's just, there's a lot of, if you really look out 15 years, there's a lot of anticipated growth in some places, and then in some departments, they're saying, not very many, but a few of them, they're saying, we're fine for 15 years, we're not gonna grow. And so, that is gonna get you about 30,000, 35,000 square feet, and then you're gonna be right back in the same.
So you're saying the one building will give us the 30 to 40,000 square feet?
I think so, yeah.
But we're gonna need, it looks like we're going to need two.
Well, you're definitely gonna need two. Especially if you wanna get the public defender back, you're gonna have to have a second building. And that's including hanging on to that JJC. I mean, there's been conversation of an additional 80 to 100,000 square feet to make it for 15 years.
Okay.
So then, do we leave the, what was it, 6.7 that we had,
Yeah.
or was it 6.3?
Yeah, because it's fund balance anyway. So you just gotta take, and your mind, just take it out in your mind from the 19.
Yeah, I'm just trying to decrement it, but because I'm thinking, we're budgeting for fiscal '20. What is the likelihood, even with an ultimate need for two buildings, that we're gonna spend 6.3?
Because you have to budget the entire project when you start it.
And then anything
Pretty
you
sure
don't
you
spend,
do.
you just
Carries
roll
over,
into the
yeah.
next year.
Yeah, it just
And-
rolls
and-
over.
and
And
then
you
I
can
just-
deobligate it if you want.
Right, then I just work with Dina at the end of the fiscal year to make sure that the project money gets rolled over.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, I know what you're saying, could you cut 3 and only fund 3 in there? But
Yeah, it's a whole project.
it's a, and
So
I don't
you're
know the statute, but.
So really, yeah, so what we're saying is, if we don't budget correctly, there's a good probability that we get halfway through construction, and there's no money to, well, there would be, but you might have a new board, you might need a new vote, is that it?
Well,
Yeah, and then you're gonna have a big
statutorily,
problem.
No, we could have a, excuse me?
statutorily, if
Statutorily.
you have the intent of doing a project, you need to budget for the project.
Yeah, but it's fund balance, so it's okay, it's not.
Yeah, and that's where I'm coming from too.
Right, so if you budget for the whole thing, you don't necessarily use it all, it just rolls into the next year, or you de-obligate it and spend it on something else. It's a placeholder, because you know you're not gonna be able to spend that much money on that project in just one short year.
Yeah, I'm just trying to whittle down the 19 mil.
Right, but that's,
Well, it'll take it down by 6.
yeah, I mean, I just do that in my head each time, so, because I just
Oh,
know it's
no, I
coming from
wouldn't take
fund
it down by
balance.
6.
And in long
I'm
term,
taking-
too-
saying maybe take it down by 3.
Eventually, we're talking about a second building too, think about it, $10,000 a month to house the public defender,
Right.
that goes back to the general fund. That
Precisely.
you could spend on a building where you weren't paying rent every month,
1.2.
you actually could invest
Right.
it, so that will offset eventually in the budget, not during construction, but
Right.
eventually you're gonna see an offset, just like you're gonna see in the budget when you look at sheriff,
Mm-hmm.
because having that jail,
The housing.
our transport and housing costs are gone down considerably. So there is a savings, it takes, the time horizon is longer to realize that savings, but you do have that to look forward.
We should have a little bit of income maybe too for housing other inmates.
Yeah, but it's usually, it fluctuates, it's,
Sure.
it's sporadic.
Okay, don't have angst, it's okay. It's okay.
No, actually, the funny thing is, I'm not really having angst.
You want to get rid of it. You're like, cut it, cut it, cut it.
I know, but no, I guess what I'm looking at is, we keep focusing on this 14 million bucks, but there's really more. Now, granted, there's a little bit of risk because we're really talking about something on the order of 30 mil. It's just that the 14 is what we're allocating. The danger in going into the rest of it is we're potentially going into cash flow.
Well, you can't spend solid waste money.
No, I'm not even looking at that.
And if you spend down your reserves too far, you don't have cash flow and you don't have anything to earn interest on. So you undercut your interest income as well.
Right. But when I'm looking at it, and then I wish Steve were here, but the thing is, he runs basically a cash flow of something around, I think his figure is 80 million bucks. So if we were to go to the 30, we're not really in jeopardy. It might not be the best approach, but again, if you look at the 19, the probability that we're gonna be able to get down to just taxing within our 2.7 mil, whatever that, if that in fact is the 3% figure, is pretty slim.
Right, but you also, I just lost my train of thought. If you were to spend that down, you would never, ever have any contingency money for an emergency either.
Well,
And
A
here's
lawsuit,
my
a
thing.
natural disaster.
and you wouldn't spend it
overs-
all, clearly.
No, but what I'm saying is that that money, that unspent money that sits there could be pulled on for many, many things.
Right.
And it allows us that financial flexibility and earning power.
And I think we need to keep in our minds that healthcare is probably $1 million a year.
Oh, that's probably a fair
Well, and
bet,
yesterday they were
Yeah.
talking about Medicaid expansion, that
Yes.
could potentially bankrupt us.
Yeah, we really have to be careful there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
All right, where did we leave off here?
Fund balance
BOCC.
is down 003.
All right, so
Okay, yeah, so
do we
forget
wanna
that, okay.
say then, let's go to capital then, and let's look at. And there she blows, so. New building, design analysis, new building, these two kind of go together. Are we in agreement that this is gonna be assigned fund balance?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right, any more questions within this section?
No, I
No.
think we're fine. Just hearkening back for a moment, did we take out the 80,000 from David's?
I think we tagged it, I don't
I
think it
made a
actually.
note and I'll
Oh,
take it out
okay.
for your next iteration for your binders.
Fair
We'll
enough.
Okay.
update that and take it out. Alright, and I think this was a project that was completed in the prior year, that's why that went down. Sean, do you recognize that? Was that some more paving?
That was, no, I don't remember what that is. That was the money, didn't we roll some of that over?
Yeah, so there's nothing for this year, or this is sitting in 19, I think there was a project that we rolled in. So that particular org set isn't doing any projects per se. All right, so if you guys are good with moving on, oops, not that far.
Flying across my face.
Okay,
All right, health, wellness, so that was the next one I was on, yeah.
okay, so this
Oh.
is your justice general accounts. Oops. Is that all there is to it? Okay. So you, that one looks wrong. Oh, it's 1.2. This is your big driver.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have some contingency under here, here's your contingency reserve. The reason that this isn't 500,000 is because we pulled money out for the, PA mid-year. So we amended the budget in 19. So this actually started out as 500, so
Okay.
it looks like an increase, but it's actually flat at this point.
Okay,
We usually put 250 in contingency up in your BOCC 10.1, and then we put 500,000 into your BOCC 15.1.
Yeah, I
So
saw the
this is that,
250.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
then here's
So
the
this isn't
500.
actually an increase, this is the result of us amending the budget for the PA.
Sure. And then the administrative legal services, is that
This is conflict attorneys.
conflict attorneys?
So we're flat for that, and some of this gets reimbursed through the PD grant.
yes.
Okay,
So a percentage, when you sit down, when we get the award, I'm assuming we're gonna get the award, we'll sit down and allocate how much of the grant, and that will reimburse this line. This
Okay.
line has been over 700,000 pretty consistently, but we've been able to chip down on that because the grant has been able to help.
Yeah, and the grant's gonna go from about 475 to, what is it, 740?
It's gonna be,
Something like that?
it's potentially a lot more.
Yeah.
okay. So can we just put on their conflict attorney and then,
Sure.
that was, no. I don't know that it needs to be highlighted,
Okay.
just,
Okay. And I can update this and send it to you so you have it for your notes. Okay, so when we talked to Ann this morning on the public defender, she said that the net effect of any changes that she wanted really wasn't gonna change her overall costs, so it looks like her budget's actually a net decrease.
okay, can we open that up and just look?
Sure.
This is one of the ones I didn't get to last night.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so, got that,
So-
got that.
There's some payroll changes in here. That's what's driving this particular line, and that's on our payroll summary. So, what we did when we met individually with Ann is she talked about how she was going to fund this line by cutting some other lines.
Yes.
Okay,
So you can see there's quite a few lines that are cut
sure.
because, she's either not spending, you know, she's just cutting very modestly in here because we know we can't supplant
Right,
with her grant. But, we kinda went in with a scalpel and sat down together and kinda went through and said, okay, realistically, what can we cut? So that's how she's funding that.
okay, what are the other professional services for 50,000? Is that,
That is expert witnesses.
okay,
Oh, yeah,
yep,
you don't wanna mess with them.
no. And like I
Well-
said, I'm not messing with anything right now, I'm just finding out what these things are.
Yeah, I didn't mean it the way it sounds. I remember when Barry came to us with,
Oh, yeah,
what was it, the trial, Renfro,
yes,
at 250,000.
for one
For
person,
one person.
yeah,
250,000 for one person.
Yeah, he
Yes.
was a forensic psychiatrist, was he? From New York University.
So the reason that this is flat
Mhm.
is because the increases are being covered by the grant.
okay,
That's a real heavy use area in the grant.
sure, okay.
Okay,
Let's scroll
she's
down.
done reasonably okay, huh?
And then normally we don't budget the grant. I have it listed here. This represents positions that are grant funded, that
Yes,
are currently in force. So
yes,
they have to be part of our current expense even though they're grant funded. So
Okay.
that's why these are here. So basically, and you can see here with the juvenile detention clinician, same kind of thing. These are existing positions that we have to fund, but we have grant dollars for them, but we're not budgeting the grant. So all we
Right.
do is we just balance those.
Sure.
Okay.
We just force them to balance.
And do we care that we should start calling it allocation instead of grant? I mean, I don't, that's what they talked about yesterday, the new statute change. talks about it's now allocation, it's not a grant, and it's not,
For
it's
public
not the.
defender?
Yep,
Well, the
yep,
public defender grant, and this is probably getting off in a tangent, they're splitting it into two sections. One is, caseload standards.
Oh,
And
okay.
the other is that, so I think the allocation
might be the caseload
is
standards.
between the part one and the part two.
Okay,
So,
That's
and,
fine.
I'm hoping that Aaron will come and speak when the grant award comes in, because it's gonna be a little bit different of how we allocate things and where we can put money, where we can allocate money from the two different parts.
okay.
Okay.
So I'm ready to go to juvenile detention ops.
This one?
Yeah,
Here
I
you
think so.
should be- He runs a tight ship.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And
Both
looks
of them,
like
J-
revenue
JT
more
and
than
Debbie.
covers expenses.
Yeah, I think-
Okay, there's just one new program there for 10,000. And I didn't get to cross my notes with my book last night, so that was, let's see, is this the right one? 66, no, it's not.
8,900.
Maybe it's under maintenance. I don't know what, no, down, maybe even down one more. There you go, that one. Let's try that one.
You mean the increase of 30?
Yeah, let's, I think there was a new program in
He
there,
does, yes.
8,900.
Yeah, $10,173.
Yeah,
Is that
but
the one you're
it's,
looking for?
it is, but I'm not, this is not the right one, I don't think.
Okay.
Maybe. No, I guess that has to be it. Well, it
It's in
wasn't,
the dot three, yeah.
I can look it up under new programs later, it's not a big deal.
This one? Juvenile Detention Center, JDC.
It's an,
maintenance
okay, so what I
program.
have is I have J Det Ops, so juvenile
That's
detention
this.
ops.
Yes.
So that's where I saw the 10,000 in the 8,900. So I just couldn't remember if he had mentioned that, but see, I don't see it there now.
Yeah, I don't see 8,900 in there.
So it's gotta be, it might be somewhere else, but that's okay, I'll look that
Go
up.
down, go down.
Down?
Maybe not, maybe not.
Yeah. Okay, I'm good there.
I'm gonna make myself a note.
Okay.
It could be that I was doing some edits here and it might have gotten erased, so 8,900.
Okay.
It's an RQST and then,
Yeah.
yeah, 10,000.
New program.
Yeah. Yep.
So we can jump to new programs very quickly, very easily. So let's do that.
Yes, with the new pretty tab.
So I don't see, I see a 10,000 for 911
Okay.
and I see a 10,173 for AMP.
Right, but no, because I knew what those were, so. Well, you know what, I have a version that would not have been changed because I haven't been online. So let me see if I can pull it up here. We can go on to another one if you want.
Let's move on.
Let's keep going.
Let me mark this so I don't forget.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the nature of spreadsheets, it's pretty manual and we can get some errors on there, so we'll make sure we
For me.
validate that right. Okay, same thing with the school lunch program, we're not budgeting anything for the school
Right.
lunch program, but it does show up in here. We get reimbursed for breakfast and lunch, and then we pay for dinner. So it's
Yeah.
just whatever the number is, whatever we get reimbursed, and it's based on whatever their demand is.
Understood.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it's gone on mine too, so apparently it doesn't exist. So we're okay with that.
Okay.
All right.
So what's next?
Okay.
Let's let's see.
Well, Keith, you're here.
Yeah.
Here's your stuff. So it looks like you cut your canine.
How'd you cut the canine? Better for
Training
cheaper
aids.
food?
Training aids. The training aids were cut, so we don't have to have them this year.
To cover the food that's no longer
Yep.
donated.
There it is.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah, I didn't have
And-
any questions in either K-9 or ops.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we know this is the new people
Yep.
and the new program for
Yep,
today.
and he's got the onboarding in there and.
Mhm.
Right.
all
Okay,
that.
here's another one where it's a grant, we don't budget for it.
Right.
Here's one that's a balancing fund. So these three funds
Uh-huh.
live under juvenile probation. So we move money around
Mm-hmm.
to help pay for juvenile probation's ops.
Okay.
But what we do is we leave it in these balanced funds, and then after we adopt the budget, we move some of these funds down into the juvenile probation budget, so she doesn't have to do budget overrides.
Right.
And then when we're done, we match the funds back up into these separate funds, so that we have apples to apples to compare, because we have a reporting requirement at the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
So the funds kind of move around, but really, your net activity happens in this ops line.
Sure.
And it looks like she's done a really good job
Yeah.
of cutting where she can.
Yeah. So the two people from Idaho just won lottery in the last couple weeks. So I'm hoping that
Oh, that will definitely help.
that will increase. Yeah.
Definitely.
What are we
It
talking
wasn't
about?
it wasn't the full lottery. They just won, I think, a total of how much?
Was it $1 million?
No,
I thought it was
Couple hundred
300,000.
here,
Yeah.
100,000 here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that'll
after
get a little
tax,
bit
that'll
in
give
there.
us a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll pay for
People need to
it.
start gambling. Juveniles.
Right. Help our juveniles go buy lotto tickets.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel
Okay.
better now.
Yeah, justifies it, doesn't
I
it?
feel better now.
Do you guys need me anymore? I'm gonna head out.
No, you're good.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Sorry, we would have hit you first if
Oh, no.
I thought you were
Go pet
just.
the dogs for me, will you?
Yeah.
Learning experience.
Oh,
All right.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay, so we're getting into an area where you see it says balancing fund.
Mhm.
So these you really don't have to pay any attention to,
Okay,
because they're self-balancing.
okay.
What we do is the group's budget, what they think they're gonna receive or spend, and then we just match it with fund balance, because they're a balancing fund.
Mm-hmm.
So Centennial Trail, that money comes over, but we have contributions from other places, and then we match that up, but it comes from their existing fund balance, so we just go ahead and balance those funds. So I think there was some major work done in 2019 on the
Yeah, we
Centennial
did. We did
Trail.
some work
So
on the
this
trail.
year, that's kind of back down
There
to,
you go.
to a manageable level, so
Okay.
we're seeing an overall decrease, but that's why you're seeing these numbers that are exactly the same, because these are those
Sure.
balancing funds.
Okay.
So, let's see, here's an interesting one, so, maintenance ops. So I think there were some requests for some overtime
Yes.
and some temps. So let's go.
Right. Where's
through
that?
that. I think I've got this one open.
Not sure.
So down in the second half, I believe there's some.
Realistically, Sean, if we were to get a new building on campus, how many more B&G would we need?
I think if you had two buildings and they're new, probably one,
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
probably one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And, you know, you have the position that Tom is asking for, this particular one is the
Mhm.
frozen position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There right now, for the first time that I can recall ever, since I've been here, all three departments are fully staffed. That's never happened.
Okay.
So you could consider freezing that again and seeing how that rolls out. Because they've never had the luxury of being fully staffed. So they've always known what it's like to be short and behind. And then maybe at some point down the road, when you do need a body here from building, you can just
Unfreeze that.
unfreeze it and move it from 15 to 10, and you would have that position kind of sitting in your back
Understood.
pocket.
Okay.
So do you want to freeze this position again?
Let's see,
That's,
that's
So-
right, the senior maintenance operator. We at least need to mark it. We
Yeah,
at least need
mark
to, so let me ask you about timing wise, Sean. If they're fully staffed right now, in the winter, does they need to work more or less? Because I know snow removal, that's an iffy. But is it
then
more
you're not
work in
mowing
the
either,
summer?
right.
Right,
No, the only thing that they get overtime wise, additional work in the summer is if they get called in. Now,
Right.
Chris moves out onto the grounds,
Mhm.
but he is also background checked to go back inside when he's not working on the grounds. So when I guess if you're asking me, overtime is winter most
Okay.
of the time.
Okay, so if we wanted the new position, we would want them to start in November maybe, if we were going to entertain.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
but you're saying that position probably wouldn't be required until the building is completed?
It down here, yeah. I mean,
But that wouldn't be.
last year we were fully staffed.
Okay.
You know, going into winter, and snow removal was a breeze. We were moving people to
Oh.
different spots.
Okay,
So, you know, in February, I didn't come in hardly at all. They had one
Right.
day where Jerry was sick and in the hospital, I did plow. So Greg's asked for a temp and some additional overtime for his staff, because we went through it in February like nobody's business.
right,
The jail's fine.
okay, okay.
In my opinion, they're fine, because when they're fully staffed, we don't touch juvenile detention, but there's body movement now between the two departments. Whereas before, you could put the fires out in either one of them, and so you can't. But like, for instance, in snow removal, Dave lives in Post Falls, he works for the jail, okay? He takes a truck home, knocks out the 2 parking lots in Post Falls, and then goes to the jail. And that freed up, because that staffing it freed up nobody from here to have to lose 2 hours.
So basically, I think what I'm hearing is we probably don't have to budget for the body in fiscal '20.
So just keep it frozen.
I think you ride it out
All
and
right,
see.
let's keep it frozen.
Or 50%. I'd be willing to say if they're getting slammed in January, I don't know.
You could
It's-
approach it mid-year. I mean, you could cut it, and then if they come
Yeah,
back
we
mid-year
can
and
handle
say, need it, then you can take it out of your temp pool, you could take it
Yeah.
out of, you could do it as a mid-year
We have
change, but
vehicles
just take it out of
available.
the budget completely.
Yeah, let's take it out.
Okay.
Here's the thing you have to remember with the
Freeze
jail
it.
position too, is the background check.
Right.
Part of the reason why it took us 5 years to fill one position was trying to get someone who could pass the background check.
That's a sad
Right.
testimony, isn't it?
It's
For
very sad.
society.
I mean, it is, but it's the truth.
Okay,
Okay.
what's next?
All right, let me, where is it? This will just be a note to me to cut it out.
I think airport's next.
Congratulations, you just reduced your budget deficit. All right, back at it.
Okay. Are we going to airport now?
And notice too, all these Fund 20s, this is all transit, so those are all balancing funds as well.
Got it.
Mhm.
Okay, airport.
How many airports we have? Oh my goodness, a lot. Okay. And I can't believe we only have 1 more hour left.
Do you guys
What-
need a break?
Well, we can break in 5 minutes, it's 10:55, but
You know,
what do we have left after airport?
Well, you're to Fund 30, and 60 is the last one. See, you only have a little bit more.
Okay.
So,
Let's try to focus on the major items for now. especially with the airport, because there's so damn many of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
So, this is your big personnel increase, and I think, did they ask for some positions?
I didn't remember him saying that when he came in.
I don't know.
I thought they wanted either a part-time or a seasonal
Be
Yeah.
a seasonal.
for snow removal.
Was that just, did they have any mid-year asks?
For
On the
personnel, I
airport?
don't think so.
Mm-mm.
It could be, let me mark that one,
See,
Yeah, mark it, we can,
because
Yeah.
I think there could be some 720 activity.
okay, but I wanna say though that also he was wanting a seasonal or a part-time or somebody.
Right,
Yeah,
but that might be in another line item, because there are multiple airport.
gotcha,
Right.
okay.
okay?
Okay, so I'll put that on the deferred, so we can dig into that one.
Okay,
Okay, and then these, obviously, these are
Right.
Yeah,
associated
we
with
can't really, yeah.
the top line.
Keep going.
what,
Nancy, go ahead.
The advertisements.
Yes,
that's
thank
oh,
you.
yeah,
there,
the 17.
$17,000 that he's budgeted for advertisement, he hasn't spent more than 2,200.
Flag it.
Yeah,
So
I
that's just a
have a note
possible
on
area
that, but I
of
can't
focus.
remember what he said, so,
Yeah, I know he's planning to do a little more, but it's not
Yeah.
gonna hit 17.
no,
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
okay.
It looks like we've got some non-capital equipment here.
You know, what, during the break, I'll grab my
3.1.
notes.
Okay.
It's 5,000. And then he's got some big capital asks too.
Yeah, did you look at the other professional services, Nancy,
Yeah.
8199? The 25,000, okay.
That's
Yeah, what's his other profession, is that?
the 5,000 that was, for
Oh.
radios.
Oh, right, we cut that down. Yep,
Okay.
yep, thank you.
Okay. Other professional services?
25,000.
Do you wanna research what that entails?
Sure.
Yeah.
He has been spending that money now.
He has been.
He has
Okay.
been spending it, okay.
Okay, do you want me to dig in to see what it's for?
Yeah, it just, for an FYI,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, this is probably driven by a contract, my guess is.
Okay.
I come down to lodging, which is 14, or 8303.
Looks like some travel.
Probably increased travel.
He does have a lot of
He has a
increased
lot of
travel,
travel
and that's
this
when I asked him to come back to us and say what's absolutely necessary, cause I know he has a lot of networking stuff that he
Yes.
likes to do, but if everybody's gonna be tight, then,
How much of that is Phil?
that's a good question.
I don't know.
That might be under the surplus program though.
Oh, it could be.
Yeah, I'll just highlight these
Yeah,
for
just
further
highlight it.
discussion,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do this offline too.
Well, I won't need to, cause I'll just get your updated stuff.
So now, when we highlight these, just for the sake of procedure,
Mhm.
so you're gonna come back, we'll look at a new number, we're gonna bring these folks back in, is that the thought?
Well, what I will do is we'll go back and do some research and just send you a summary via email. Then when we come back in for the next meeting, they'll be on the deferred decisions list, we'll have some items on the deferred decisions
So
list.
you will have actually approached these folks?
Well, I won't approach them, I'll tell you what they are
Yeah.
and
Oh,
send you
okay.
a summary.
And it may be worth, just emailing or calling too individually if you wanted to. I know I
Okay, and we
emailed
can
you guys.
work that
Yeah,
out
we can
amongst the
say like
three of
for
us, okay.
airport, we have questions on X, Y, and Z. And then you would reach out to them, and then when we come back, that item's on deferred decisions, you can say, oh yeah, I got some feedback
Got
on
it.
this,
And you know
cut,
what?
not cut.
Okay, we can work that through our liaison relationships, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine, that
Yeah,
works,
sure.
I just wanted to get that down, okay,
Sure.
good.
Okay, and then,
The 14,000 software, I think he did I thought he brought that up to us. Like I said, I've got my notes from when we met, so I
Okay,
should
so
just,
he's reduced
That's
that.
probably
What, can we take a 5-minute break?
Sure.
Okay, so we're gonna recess at 11 o'clock, be back at 11:05.
Okay.
Bill, you
Bill?
okay?
That's fine with me.
okay, do you want to stay on the phone? He wants to call you back.
I'll call back.
Okay.
resuming. I'm just gonna step out for a moment to pick up some notes. Go ahead, Leslie. Go ahead, Dina. Go
So
ahead.
I think that we might have figured out that it should be a temporary or seasonal person, maybe not regular staff. But we can clarify that with him, whether it's gonna be a part-time person or if it's going to be seasonal. Because if it's seasonal, it's kind of on the wrong line.
Okay, so this one?
Yeah.
So where are we?
It's still just talking about the seasonal versus part-time, if,
And we can
if I remember
research
what.
that.
Yeah, because I guess he's got one guy retiring and he was gonna retire that position, but then needed, somebody either part-time or seasonal to fill in for that.
Okay.
And if that position isn't retired yet, then it still would be sitting in there too.
Good
So
points.
it would be getting pulled in as an open position until it's retired.
But we
So-
don't know when he's
Right.
gonna retire,
Exactly.
so, okay,
But
so
we
then
also
that's
have
another
some other
question.
positions pending that we
Okay.
know we're gonna be shutting down, but they're not shut down yet, so that's gonna drop that current number as well.
Okay,
Okay. So I have marked, travel for further
Okay.
discussion, the 14,000 is for the BOCC software.
okay,
That was a capital ask.
right.
He has $1,200 budgeted for computer user training costs. Is that something that could fall under the money that James budgets? For the county?
Cause that's a brand new thing, so, yeah, we can ask, cause James is gonna get back to us with his multiple line items, right?
Would it be possible to take the software out of fund balance then? As an IT capital planning?
Well,
I don't know what
I
it
wonder
is.
if this is related to this. I wonder if it's the training from this new BOCC software.
Oh, maybe. Okay,
But
so it's
we
just
can-
questions.
We can make a note.
Okay, I found mine.
Okay. Right, so,
Transfer temp to overtime and 2 temps. 10 total people. I'm just reciting some notes from when Stephen was here. Standard 2% increase. And this is regarding his A budget.
So repeat again, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, we were transferring the temp to the overtime, the temp budget to the overtime budget.
and they're requesting
and-
2
and-
temps.
And 2 temps. 10 total people for his full staff.
Okay,
Am I making any sense?
This might be under a different line item.
Would he budget his own 2%? I mean, that should be included in
Yeah,
the
correct.
increase that we've
Yeah.
already budgeted.
That's
Yeah.
included in the increase, but I'm gonna look at this because this, if it was a new temp request, then it would fall under 7,700, so it
Oh,
might be a
okay.
different line item, so if we're good
Okay.
there.
The overtime.
Let's
Look at
me
move
go
17 from ad to marketing.
Yes. Yeah, he made, am I jumping ahead? You want-
No, I mean, it's.
Okay,
you
move
can-
17,000 from advertising to marketing?
So I don't know, I know, but it's, we don't even have a marketing
Yeah.
thing, so, yeah, I don't know. Or maybe he was just saying it's more like marketing instead of advertising. I don't know, cause I don't see a
Yeah,
line
this would
item.
be the 17, this is
Mhm.
likely what the marketing was.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
just made a
that's
mark,
definitely it.
could be reduced,
Okay,
okay?
is the software on there?
He's just trying to change it.
Yeah, I think so. Here's. His travel, 1 to 2 per
Oh.
quarter, 4 to 5,000 increase, total B budget increase. Software, 14,000 initial and recurring.
Okay.
That was part of his B budget. Where are we? Maybe, I
Yeah,
guess I should.
down below, yeah, right there.
Software, there's the 14,000, okay,
Yeah,
What was that software?
okay.
we didn't, there's no detail.
No, I don't have any detail here, no. Is there any in
So,
the,
under your capital
go ahead.
Oh, okay.
section,
Yeah,
there should be a form in there that, where he discusses the BOCC software, so let me go over to the capital.
And
section.
I will look that up.
me jump to, let's see if I can magically do this.
They should be in there.
Michelle organized these so nicely. Okay, so here's airport admin. So this should be the form for the software. Yep,
Okay.
here it is.
Okay.
So,
Go ahead.
Replace current Part 139 paper system. Now I remember.
Okay, so this is
Yeah.
FAA related.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is.
yeah. Software provides for the ability to monitor all aspects of Part 139 compliant items and will keep
Mhm.
all the lease information and billing in one software package. So that manages their revenue.
Right, and the 14,000 is initial, and he said recurring.
Oh, okay. So
But,
it's a subscription type
Mhm,
service.
Right.
mhm.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah, so it wouldn't be able to come out of fund balance because it's gonna be recurring.
Right.
right.
So let me mark this as recurring, as a note for us.
Right, and then we have the other items, some of the capital.
Right, so we reduced that, and I think that has to stay, crack sealer.
Yeah, we took out the crack sealer.
So I think
we
we're
took
not
out-
there yet,
we're
because
not there
this
yet.
is, right.
Yeah,
We-
there are a
we've got-
number of board sets, see all these
Right.
30s, these
Yeah.
are all
Airport.
airport.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so do we wanna look at the reduction in revenue here?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it's being driven by fund balance appropriations, so we can just ignore that.
Okay,
Okay.
That was probably a prior year capital project where we transferred funds in.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm gonna do this to remind myself to look. Alright, ops field maintenance. Repairs and renovations is your key driver, and safety supplies. These are under new programs.
So I wonder if that's where he put some work to be done on the building itself.
Hmm.
It's under new programs.
Well, that wouldn't, minor repair renovation, he's got 34,000. So that's probably where that is.
So in capital, there's 25 for a pickup truck, and there's 120 for a paint vehicle.
Which category are you under?
are you in capital, by any
I'm in
chance?
capital, but I don't think it's the right line item. So let me
Okay.
back up here. So, I think this is just a mixture of, B budget increases, does that sound right?
Well, it might be the repair to his office. Repairs, renovations,
The 24,000?
yeah.
Let me see, because I'm looking at something here.
But that wouldn't be under capital.
No, it'll probably be under B, looking at the forms.
Okay.
It's a B budget item.
That's right.
He's got other minor repairs and renovation. He
Mhm.
put down additional cost for replacement of signs and lights on the airport. Signs and lights are per FAA requirements.
Okay, so that's, where's the money for his office?
As a matter of fact,
Yeah, we do have
signage and
lights.
lighting, 10
Yeah.
to 15,000.
Yeah, so
That's
he
what I
has
showed for my
24.
Okay.
Oh, actually, it's 34 in there.
Well, he also mentions, and I don't know if this is part of it, the safety fund, FAA demands, safety fund, FAA demands that we bring it up to airport grade, and that's 14. So if you add the 14 to the 10, that gives us 24. There you go.
Okay.
All right?
That's what it is. It's
Alright.
it's lighting, runway lighting, and safety fund.
Okay, so then there's safety supplies that went up by $7,000.
I'm pretty sure he's trending over budget this year for that line item.
He's going over budget for that line item.
Which
Oh,
one
okay,
is
so
that,
he's
Nancy?
just trying to,
Yes.
8018, that one there,
So he's just trying to catch up.
Yeah.
okay. All right,
Well, like I was saying, I think the question to ask him is, did he budget any money to
Right.
do the building? I mean, it was leaking and
Yeah, so we should identify.
cost
that.
money to, mitigate and all that other stuff, so
Well, we've got a few org sets left to go.
I didn't see it anywhere.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it either, and I'm not seeing it in,
It's not,
any of the asks for capital,
it's not in grounds, I looked,
no. So it may not be in there.
so I think he may have just missed it.
It doesn't appear as though he's made any allowance for any work on the building.
I don't think.
yeah, that's what
I don't think
Sean's saying.
so.
Yeah, so here's the
Okay.
truck.
Yeah, so can we talk about the truck for a little bit?
Yeah, here
Do
it is.
they
Sure.
take vehicles home?
Yes.
Why? Because they have to respond to the airport.
Same question for the ones that responded to jail.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
Yeah.
so that I would probably have to, did you take notes on why he wanted the vehicle?
No.
Do you want me to
Oh, a
just
ramp
put-
plow truck, maybe?
Yeah.
Let me see.
One of them was a paint vehicle, one of them.
Yeah,
was
that's the 120.
Yeah, we,
Oh,
vehicle
that's
and the other one was a
90, okay, up
pickup.
Yeah.
here, two pickups,
two pickups,
120,000 miles. Well,
yes,
if
he's thinking of two pickups at 35,000 a pop for 70 grand. Is that on
I
there?
think we cut him down. I think that
Did we cut it?
might
What
have,
I
see sadly my
see
notes.
is
on here.
25 for a vehicle and.
Yes, you're right,
machinery,
because we cut him from
so-
35 to 25, told him to go get used.
25 for a pickup.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he's got 120 for a paint vehicle.
Right, and so that one,
That we allowed for now.
for
You
now,
had a funding source for that, correct?
Yeah,
I think the
was gonna ask-
think so.
300 from
Yes,
the
that money-
pavement project.
Okay, so.
What's
right?
that?
It was money from the pavement project
Yes.
that they did for Forest Service.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but
I
they
remember reading
spent
that
a
in the
lot of that
minutes.
on other stuff, so. we
Right,
should probably
so
Spend
we'll
see.
need to, yeah, if you can,
Okay,
okay,
will mark
perfect,
it.
alternate funding, okay?
Was there another one that you pulled out of there, Bill?
Yeah, we pulled out the
300,000?
ramp plow for 90 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't,
He didn't put that in?
no,
Okay.
No.
He
'cause
didn't-
these
he
were the
didn't
things
make it
that-
to our
Okay,
desk,
so
'cause
he
you
didn't-
guys cut it
pulled it
before.
for him.
Okay, we already
Yeah.
pulled it.
And none of the vehicles were taken out of the nothing else was taken out of the 300,000?
There was the crack sealer, but he didn't include it, and that was 54,000.
Okay.
right, because we
took
said
that
no.
out. He
And
said no.
no, we said no to the $70,000 in vehicles.
Okay.
And he put the 25,000,
Still 25 instead of 35 each.
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
And then we have 16,000 for equipment rental.
Yes, that had to do, it was the plow thing. Instead of the $90,000 for the new plow, we're doing 16,000 in rental. Isn't that what we,
I
let's
think so.
remember?
Okay.
All right, are we ready to go on to the next one?
Okay, I think so.
Okay, grounds maintenance is flat. Do we wanna open it up and see if there's,
Well, if it's flat, can he
Yeah,
cut?
I think we can leave it.
Oh, here it is, building repair and maintenance, $15,924.
Is that on there?
Yep,
That's what he had
1548.
last year.
Right, so you think he needs more than that?
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't maintain the building. And I don't know what that 8517 right there
Mm-hmm.
could be just, general maintenance stuff. I
Mhm.
think maybe it is in there, but it would probably
Such
be
an
good
odd
to ask
amount.
the question.
Okay,
Did he get some estimates for his water leaking
okay,
issues?
so I'm not seeing building repair and maintenance.
Underground maintenance, the one
It's under the dot 104.
yes, dot 104.
Right. Okay, this guy. Okay.
So Bill, did you want to touch base with Steven and talk to him about his water leak in his building?
Absolutely.
So we were suggesting maybe in regards to that, when you guys could reach out to your liaisons and your department heads, that maybe if it's done via email, we can all have a record of it.
Oh, okay.
Copy.
Yes.
And so then we'll have backup documentation.
Yeah, and make sure that
Instead
we
of calling the
update all the
person in every
forms.
time.
Absolutely.
Or call them. So
Okay.
if we could just have everyone copied on the email, I think that would be good going forward.
Okay. Did you get that, Bill?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
So what'll happen, for the sake of process, you'll flag these, Dina?
Yep.
Send them to us, we three will
Yeah.
reach out for our liaison relationships, copy you guys on the responses
Yeah,
we
and
get
all
so
three
that
of you
we're
guys,
all
so
in the
you'll have
loop.
that would that be okay too, to copy all three?
Yes.
Yeah, and then we'll know when we're referring back to notes,
Yes.
we'll have a record of it, instead
Yes.
of guessing of what it actually was.
So we're all on the same page.
Yeah, we all know what we're talking about as we go through.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, great.
So here's infrastructure improvements. There's $10,000 for road maintenance. Didn't we already see a $10,000 for road maintenance?
There it is, 10K road maintenance.
Okay, but am I,
I believe, yeah, there it is.
There it
Is
is.
that one that
There
was
it
going
is.
to be
He
used
cut
to-
it back.
Okay, so we wanna cut this one?
well, I
It
just,
says grant related.
Is that going back to
Is it
that
a
one?
match?
Yeah, we better be careful because if you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it a match?
I'm just wondering why it's under two categories, that's all. If it's the same thing or if it's, yeah, cause it's
Well-
under 102 and it's under 105.
Right, so this non-eligible for grants, yeah, I'm gonna have to
Okay.
research this one because I'm not sure of the nature of that, but I know that there's a lot of road-related stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this pre-grant formulated activity, this one, I think it's part of the FAA grants.
Okay,
So I think that's why that one was just flat. And here is the FAA maintenance, so I think that this part is non-eligible and this is eligible.
Got it.
Cause it's got that .5 there, so that's attached to a project.
oh, you know what, and look at, here's another 10,000 there. So maybe it's pooled or something.
Well,
So we got 3 8519s, 3 different org sets.
yeah, we use 8519 in a lot of different places. So
Right.
let me just mark these, and I can follow up and then we can figure out how they all fit together,
Got
Okay,
it.
okay?
okay, so are we ready for sewer fund? So Nancy, do you remember they said that we have 2 lift stations that are gonna need repairs?
Yes.
And it looks like he's reduced his budget by $24,000, but that's not gonna be bueno because we're going to need so much. And I don't know that we have that figure yet, do we?
Well, here's what he said, need to review sewer fees, need 30,000.
Okay,
And then he says, parentheses, was is what I have
Mhm.
restricted to repair Miles lift
Lift
station.
station.
So
Okay.
30 grand,
Yeah.
that makes sense?
so, yeah, but it's, oh, I see, so it's gotta be a separate line item. I think what we have to do is we'll find out from HARS, and then we'll bring it back around to Stephen and say, this is how much they're anticipating it will cost to repair these, where is this in your budget?
And
So I can
think
talk to
I might have
Marcy.
done like an interfund transfer, so let me
Okay.
research this as well. Because
Okay.
it could be that I actually did the transfer already,
Yeah, 'cause there's
it's just
three,
not coming in,
Okay,
cause that's a transfer in. It might just be backwards. So,
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll research that one. Yeah, cause I seem to remember reading about that in the forms.
Got it.
Alright. And it could be that it's in there, it's just we're spending less this year than we
Well,
were
we're not
last
paying
year.
the utilities anymore, we were paying utilities that we were not supposed to be paying.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
So, we're not paying $30,000 in utilities.
Okay, good.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
That's a savings.
That's a nice savings.
Mhm.
Okay.
okay, fair. So the net increase, if we take out what we rolled forward, because we rolled some stuff forward, you
Okay,
can see the net is 75,000. So prior year was 75,000. That was what we funded last year. Their ask this year is 200,000,
Right,
Mhm.
which is a $125,000 net increase. We just have some noise in here because of some roll forwards and splitting funds around.
right. So her two projects, her top two project are safety and they were deferred, come to 90,000.
if we were to just go with the top two, what do you think, Sean? You probably know what goes on out there better than any of us. It's a bit more than last year, but so obviously substantially less than what they're asking for, but
It would help. It would help. I mean, I look at some of the paving that needs to get done, but if that's what she says are her two most important ones, then, I mean, I've seen the wooden steps in the grandstand, they're
Mhm.
pretty bad.
they're bad.
Okay.
And I believe she was talking about those, getting some gravel down on the lots and roads just to make it so it wasn't so messy.
Right,
The only thing I don't like about the gravel is you put it down and then you scrape it all off when you have to plow it.
yeah,
So then you either have to pay somebody and they don't have the equipment to bring it back. That's why I always look to the paving,
right,
because they don't scrape the asphalt off.
right.
Right,
So,
But that's just so much more,
right.
So are you
To do that.
saying
well, yeah,
scratch item 2 and maybe do items 3 and 4 instead?
that's what I say.
So item 1 and then items 3 and 4,
Would probably be a really good,
and that'll still bring
Effort.
us in under the 90. Because it'll be
Right.
40, 62, that would take us in about 80.
79, somewhere around
Thereabouts.
80,000 right in
Do you
there.
want
Okay.
to do that?
but the gravel lots and roads, that's way more extensive than the two paving things.
Right.
And so,
And
just
I-
wanted to point that out.
And I'm not saying you can't do the gravel lots and roads, you guys can do whatever you want. I'm just saying that, you know, in 2 years, you could be back asking for $60,000
Well,
to do the same
she
thing.
has flagged it
Right.
as safety.
I have a
Do
question.
you agree?
Mhm.
I'm sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Go ahead, Sean.
She's indicated items 1 and 2 as being
I
safety
think,
related.
I think one for sure. To me, a gravel lot is not safer than asphalt, to me. I mean, gravel's gravel. You can't do, you can't run wheelchairs across it, without difficulty walking in a walker. So I don't know what kind of a safety issue it is, other than, I'm trying to remember what she said when she was in here, because she said something about, she wanted them gravel, I thought she said she wanted them gravel because they were muddy and people
Yes.
were slipping.
Yes.
Is what
Yes.
I think she said.
Yeah, because even when Jennifer and I went, it was not safe to walk
So maybe-
across in heels and a dress.
Yeah.
So then 1 and 2, or would you say 1, 3, and 4?
Well,
From your best shot?
I'd say 1, 3, and 4. I mean, I know it's not easy to walk through there in heels and I don't know actually, but I can imagine
Well,
it might be
when I
very-
last saw you,
Levity began.
when I last saw
Walked
him
right
in
into
drag.
that one. Walked right into that.
We won't bring up the room for the.
This is
lawn
almost up there with the The maternity thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Not quite,
That
nothing
will live in
compares to
infamy.
that.
No,
That would've been
yeah, that one.
Yeah, don't bring it
Yeah.
up.
We're not.
Okay, because I was actually here for
Your
that
wife never
You
heard
hear
the
I
that?
was
last of
here
that.
for that one, and I'm like, Sean, stop, just stop it now. Don't explain
That's right, you
anymore.
were sitting right
I
there.
was.
Ron
I
just
gotta admit,
reminded me
you
of
were
that one
pretty
the other day.
clinical.
It started down and I couldn't stop.
And his face got redder, and it was so funny.
I have to admit, though, he was pretty clinical, wasn't he?
He was crying.
Anyway,
Gosh.
so we can move on here. 1, 3, and 4?
I would lean more towards that because the gravel just gets plowed away and then you have nothing left. You know, I would go 1, 3, and 4 and see
Okay,
if they
let's do
can
that.
find somebody to donate it.
To donate the
Yeah, you can always
gravel.
revisit it.
Okay, are we
Yeah.
okay with that? Yeah,
Okay,
let's do
so
that. so we
I'm
can
not
move on.
looking at what you're
Can we
looking
get a copy
at.
of that sheet real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
what would the
okay,
net
I'll go
increase be then?
It'd be a
So-
decrease, I think.
Okay, so instead of $125 or 125,000 extra, how much?
You're looking at 40 plus 22.5 plus 17.5. So 80?
80.
Right at 80.
Right at 80.
So plus 80K.
So it's $5,000 more than we got last.
$5,000 more, but substantially less than what they're asking, okay?
For me, the other thing is, for me, if you're going to improve the ADA, that just keeps people happy.
No, I hear you.
You know, those people that,
So what else do we need for her or or are we okay?
Yeah.
I think we're fine, we'll just adjust the ask, and then that will flow through and reduce your deficit because of the reduction from 125 to 80.
Okay.
Okay. Great. And my question was,
Uh-huh.
when, I wasn't here for the meeting, but did she speak at all to any additional revenue generated from the RV park? Because they're through phase 1 and phase 2, so they should be at a point where they're operational enough to be actually realizing some revenues.
I asked, and I don't think, she did not have the answer to that.
Okay.
So Bill, would you be able to reach out to Alexia at the fair and find out what the revenue is from?
Anticipated revenue this year from RV park?
Yeah, and I have other questions for her too, relative to the ranking of these projects.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All right, so I'm gonna make a note that.
Yeah, so what we did, Bill, you've got the sheet, right?
I had it, I don't have it in front of me
Oh,
here.
okay, so she's got 16
But
plus,
I saw the sheet.
okay. So she has 16 plus items on here, and we basically agreed to, for now anyway, fund items 1, 3, and 4,
Mhm.
based on,
I just feel funny doing that when we had, for instance, James in, he could speak to what we might fund and what we might not, and to start making these, even though they're not votes, they're recommendations without her here, I think is a mistake.
well, we can always, well, why don't you contact her? Well, when she was here, she even said that if we had to hold it at 75, she would make do. The increase from 75,
I know.
yeah. So she's getting a slight increase, but, you know, we can always revisit it, but, you know, we've got some tall challenges ahead of us.
Are
But
we
if you want to
okay,
revisit it, we can do that.
are we okay doing the reduction for the estimate?
For now, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for now. And then you could just make a notation.
Sure.
All right, so are we to
Where
Parks
are we?
and Waterways now?
We're in the home stretch.
Okay, let's go.
So we're at noxious weeds.
Okay.
So it looks like decrease in expenses for noxious weeds.
Yeah, that's good.
We have an increase here for the department ops. And I think Nick did a really good job of
Summarizing.
describing, what that was
Yes,
for.
you did.
Yeah.
I know that he's doing some remodel work,
Yes.
Yes.
and I have these marked here, where you notice here these .5s
Mhm.
as the amount. So he's sharing the cost with Noxious Weeds and Parks for their office remodel. I know part of that was putting in the showers because they deal with toxic chemicals and they'd be able to wash
Yeah.
off and change clothes and that kind of thing. So he's sharing that cost, the 90,000 for that between the two departments. And then the same for, let's see, irrigation renovation, same deal. Split in half between the two departments, so
Got
that pretty much makes up the lion's share,
Okay,
okay? And I think he wanted a truck.
Yeah, was that gonna be out of restricted funds though?
He's taking that out of restricted funds.
Okay.
Okay. And then, right, and then we got the one coming back to us.
Right.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
so,
so, this is a decrease, this is part of a grant, so this is one of those where you don't need to worry
Right.
about it.
okay,
right,
Health
And
District, we
that's-
talked to them.
yeah,
yeah,
This week. So this is the net increase based on the state formula.
yes,
Mhm.
So they kept their budget flat, but they had to crank
shifts.
everything through the state
formula.
formula, so it spread everything, and Kootenai County was the lucky recipient of an increase, and some others got
Right.
decreases.
right,
So that is the net decrease. They do provide mandated services for the county. We outsource those services to them, and they can do them for a lot cheaper
Okay.
than
yeah,
we could do
and I
them
think
for.
you're gonna go to the budget meeting this month anyway.
I am on the
Yeah,
23rd.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what that one is.
What happened there?
So this one is
Couple
one
different things.
where we worked with Leanna. This budget used to sit in BOCC.
Oh, by the way, Bill, we're on Historical Society.
So pretty much this whole budget was moved from BOCC
Okay.
over to here, and now RMO will be managing this budget by itself. It used to just be one chunk sitting up in BOCC, so now this is actually down where it should be.
But there is an increase, so, the museum wants 20,000 instead of 15,000, and, they have put in for historical committee members' travel expenses. We didn't used to pay for any of that. So that's what they've asked, that's why it's,
So that's why these travels are higher.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just don't see how that's gonna help us in our long-term, thing, so I'm fine with just leaving it, cause they're still working on things too. So I don't see a reason to dig in there.
I'm fine.
Okay, I'll just mark it to
Yeah,
revisit.
there you go, okay.
Okay. And then the green ones are balancing funds.
Got it?
Don't need to worry about it, restricted, so here we are at parks.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Looks like we've got the construction, that's what I had just spoken about, the construction and the vehicle.
Okay,
And this is a restricted fund.
okay,
This one we don't need to worry about, this is.
EMS, yeah,
EMS does their own budget,
Yep.
and we just plug in a number when they give it to us. But that's a balanced fund.
Can we go back up to the snowmobiles?
Yep.
yes,
Yep.
Because I
Yeah.
have some concerns about the state management, the second one down,
Okay,
for the personnel costs.
mm-hmm,
I saw this yesterday and we budgeted for the temporary and seasonal salaries, $20,000 last year. That was nowhere near enough. We're
right,
already at almost 26,000 for this year and we still have his 10 hours of pay period to pay through the end of the fiscal year.
okay,
So I don't know, I know this is based on hours, but I think we need to revisit that because for the last several years, we have been trending at about 25,000 a year for those costs.
so revisit,
well,
I think we need to
you-
look at the hours, the personnel hours.
okay,
Okay,
Right.
so I can, I'll make a note of that.
yeah.
well, and I think I still have an open question out to David because I did get direction on what those hours should be. And then I asked for confirmation and then I haven't heard back, but I think he goes between an email that's with the county
Yes.
and a private email, so it could be that he hasn't gotten the email yet, but I
Okay.
can go find that email, let me make a note.
Okay, all right,
And
so
see
I
where
don't
we
need to
were
reach
at.
out to him, cause you've already reached out.
Well, and I'll loop you in and
Okay.
see where we are on status.
Got it.
Okay,
Because that one's always, we've always kind of, that's been a funny one because he's in two different position numbers, one for
Mhm.
part of the year and one for the other part of the
Right.
year. So it's always kind of a manual scramble at the end to get it all tweaked.
well,
So-
and then the other thing to complicate it is the one position he's splitting with somebody else now, cause he
He's
just
taking on
can't.
less hours, right?
Yep,
Yes.
he's taking on less hours, so that will be a net zero, but, I mean, it won't be any additional funds, but we need to make sure that it meshes with the rest of the 10 hours a year or month, the rest of the year.
Is that a new position just for those hours? I'm trying to recall the 7 minutes.
It'll be a new seasonal,
A new
but,
seasonal.
but the money will
It's the
just,
same, I know it
Yeah.
even out, but it
Yeah.
just,
yeah, but I think it will be considered a new position,
Okay,
so.
so we'll get that confirmed.
okay?
Okay, then, the vessel funds. This one went up. This was part of the, purchase of the truck, I believe.
And those are restricted?
Yep, they're
Yeah.
restricted funds.
Okay, go ahead.
All the green, right?
Yep, all the green, okay.
And-
Public access is based on donations, so that
Okay.
just kind of takes care of itself. EMS. Aquifer Protection, have you talked to anyone over at Aquifer Protection?
I have not, but I'm fairly familiar with their budget and stuff, so I don't have any concerns. I know where the, the increases are coming from. And what it is the fee was reduced in order to reduce the fund balance. So we know that we're gonna be in a deficit for a couple years, and then they're gonna revisit the fee and make sure that they can then kind of match revenue with
Okay, so
expenses.
do you wanna balance this with fund balance then?
Yes,
Yes.
it's their fund balance, it's restricted fund balance, so.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
We also had some questions. Some money was moved between accounts from what we submitted. So we're
Oh.
not sure.
Okay, did that happen during tweaking sessions, or what?
I
Do you
don't
know what specific line item it was?
There were a couple of them, that we had moved money to different accounts because when Leanna goes to pay some of the bills, she was being told by, the accounts payable people that she was charging out of the wrong account.
Oh,
So we moved them to the appropriate account and they got moved back.
oh,
So we had some concerns, but we're gonna address it when we get the final budget from APD.
okay. So it just sounds like you're just moving categories, you're not really
Yes.
increasing
No.
money?
No, sorry.
No,
Okay.
just moved between accounts.
So it's the
Okay.
same, it's back to where it used to be?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we need to correct
Okay.
where.
So it's 11:45, and it looks like solid waste is the last one?
Solid waste is the last one, and we know that we're just gonna use fund balance to balance them. It looks like for the most part, they've cut their expenses.
Yep.
Okay.
Department ops, this likely, there could be some 720 increases that came through that bumped us up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just very minimal.
I just have a 12 o'clock downstairs training,
Yep,
so
yep,
I
you're
just wanted to, and I don't mind, coming back another time if we wanna go through this, and I'll go through it in the meantime and see if I have any questions,
Yeah.
but they're,
But by and
pretty-
large, they should be fine, right?
yeah.
Well, we've covered an incredible amount of ground,
First pass.
and
Yeah,
we
we
have
did,
some
we
good
did.
homework to do, and we will
Yes, we
get
do.
going on that, and we can update all the summaries and send these back to you. And we'll reprint anything that changed in your binder, and we'll update your binders for you,
Okay.
so.
Based on what
Stuff.
comes back to us, we then contact our appropriate departments,
We'll
get
send
the
emails,
answers.
yes.
You'll send me emails or?
Okay.
I'll send the emails, we'll go through.
Okay, however.
And-
See
you
the
choose.
questions that need to be asked?
Yeah, we have all this marked, so we'll go through all of our notes and we'll summarize what needs to be done and we'll send it to you and then you can go off and then we'll all come back together
Okay,
and
great. Got
It's
it.
gonna be great.
So when
That'll
we,
work.
this coming back together is actually our first round of deliberations for the BOCC? Is that when?
Well, actually, in a sense, this was. but-
Well, this was a deep dive into your departments. You are gonna have more meetings this month with each elected official,
Official.
Right.
and they're going to talk about their departments. Now, normally, like I said at the beginning, we let them drive.
Yep.
And we just have the support in the background. This is a little bit more support than we've had in prior years. But this board has been diving in and looking at stuff, so I think we'll have this in the background if you wanted to look at anything, this similar thing. But I'm gonna let the other electeds drive their presentations.
Okay.
Some will have PowerPoints, some will just give you statistics, it just depends. You have assessor and sheriff on Monday. I sent every elected official this particular summary for each one of theirs, and we've just availed ourselves to them, anything that they need support-wise, to put forth their presentations. The sheriff has 3 presentations, because he has a lot of data to cover, the first of those is on Monday. Assessor is also on Monday.
Yes.
If you look in your binder, I have all the agendas in there, and who's coming next. So, if I go back to our agenda for today,
Uh-huh.
it's actually right here. There's your next meeting, assessor at 9 on Monday.
And I won't be at once next week.
So,
Oh.
question, Gina.
Yep.
As we go through these EO sessions,
Yep.
should we be prepared to make adjustments as we go, or are you envisioning a second pass by each of them?
I think if you know something right away, you all
Yeah.
agree.
But might as well just go ahead and do
Yeah,
If
it.
there's something obvious at the outset you wanna cut, the sooner you cut it, you make your
Better
life
off with that,
easier.
bigger, faster.
But you're
Yeah.
going to have a lot of deliberations blocks in June and July. We're also gonna get feedback from Alliant, that's gonna help a lot too.
Right.
So as we work through this, you can cut at any time that you want to,
Okay,
but deliberations, that's where the rubber hits the road. That's where it's like, okay, we've absorbed everything. Now let's start looking at the big stuff, like we were talking about impact, the capital, the new positions, some of
Right.
these other position changes where you're gonna get some really big wins right off the bat. We'll go through those early on in deliberations,
Right.
clean everything up, and it's like, okay, let's go back, let's dig a little deeper, what do we need to do to fix this all?
Okay, so let's attack what we can up front. The
Right,
sooner the
the-
better,
yeah.
especially the glaring.
There should be guys, it's a strong agreement amongst you guys, that makes sense.
Right.
And one of the things, and I'll just bring it up real quick before we break, and it came up yesterday during the training session, the idea, and even Dan Matos mentioned this, of leasing versus purchasing
Right.
vehicles. I don't know.
There's a proposal being put together.
Okay,
Will
wonderful.
that
And
be
it's
brought up
gonna-
at the sheriff's
Yes, sir.
meeting?
It's gonna be presented to you on the 28th, I
Okay,
believe.
wonderful.
Oh,
You're gonna
okay.
get briefed on it
Cool,
maybe
that
next
works.
week while you're.
Yep.
Right,
Yep,
and it
yep.
depends on the lease contract, and I did talk
Exactly.
to,
Oh, it's being done
I
every.
can't
Okay.
remember his,
Yeah.
why can't I remember his name? He's from ICRIM. I talked to
Oh.
him yesterday, and he
Not
said,
Jim.
Jim McNall, he said that insurance-wise, vehicles purchased versus vehicles leased, no
Doesn't matter.
major change, difference, cost.
Okay.
And
So-
it's not a lease, it's actually, I don't wanna let the cat out of the bag, but it's like a lease buyback.
Yeah, so it's a
So
little
it's
bit
capital
different.
That's May
lease.
28th, you said?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it looks like the sheriff has another meeting on May 29th that we'll have, so I don't know if we wanna push
That'll
that
give you
off until
time
you guys have
to-
time to
yeah.
consider. When we look at the vehicles, I guess, in the budget.
I think there's going to be a lot of conversations outside of the, not with the board,
Okay,
outside.
and that's fine.
So that way they can have a unified front
Yes.
that it's going to be supported or it's not going to be supported, then we can decide.
Better yet.
Right,
So-
that's kind of the
Exactly.
plan,
Sounds
is
good.
like,
That works.
I'll bring him up to speed and Bill up to speed
Okay,
when I get back, if you don't bring him up to speed first.
okay.
Right, so Monday's discussion probably
And
won't
so
be about
we'll be
vehicles,
speaking-
it'll be about other
So
stuff.
we'll maybe just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good enough.
Perfect.
thank
And if
you
they have-
so
Oh, so let me,
much.
before we adjourn, let me just say, public comment? Hearing none, 11:53 a.m., meeting adjourned, thank you.
Thank you.
And if the sheriff has any